Hi everyone, Mordian Glory here. So today's episode is going to be a bit of a stream highlight, a live reaction and commentary for when I covered the 11th edition battle reports that GW released as part of the hype train they're building up for the new edition of 40k. Now, I did cover these games on my live stream, hence why this is a stream highlight, but one of the things that cropped up a lot was people telling me they loved the commentary that I did about these games, which I have to say I was kind of surprised about. I felt like I spent most of the time just crashing out and raging about how terrible the GW presentation was, but maybe that is somewhat amusing. But based on that feedback, I thought it might be a good idea to break each one of these games down into their own individual video, rather than having them be part of that big 12, 14-hour live stream that I did. That should make it a bit easier for you guys to view them, but at the same time, I would love to get some feedback from everyone who watched this video on what you think about this style of commentary. Because if you like this kind of thing and you want to see more of it, and these videos do well enough, then absolutely I can make more of this kind of content. Of course, this first pass is probably going to be pretty rough, but I can take the time to refine the formula, polish it up a little bit, and then add it to the channel as a standard form of content that we produce on a regular basis. So like I said, any feedback that you can give would be greatly appreciated. But I think I've been waffling on enough now. You guys want to see what these games were like. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, it's looking better now. It's looking better. Okay, here we go. What is this?
So we're now taking a look at forces assembled.
Wait, the audio's fucked again, guys. You've got this trailer, and then Eddie is trying to cast the game. More technical difficulties. So Eddie's trying to cast the game whilst this is playing.
Hundreds of different.
There you go.
Available. So we've got two of them here, which also represent the ones that feature in the.
That was so weird when they like sort of went to the sort of live, like the sort of shaky cam. That was strange.
First impressions of how these are going to smash into each other.
Oh, Eddie's so quiet.
Table, but the DAC is heavy.
Eddie is so quiet.
We're going to be playing a Ceramite Sentinels, which you can see is 3 detachment points in this configuration in our Strike Force 2000 points battle. The force disposition is also listed here for the take and hold, and we're going to be unpacking that in detail as we move through. It's kind of the intro portion of setting the stage.
So here we are getting into the game now. There's been a few technical difficulties. I imagine we're going to experience a few more, but here we are finally getting into the game. So this is the
combined, so you're going to get
intro game that Games Workshop came up with.
Disposition.
So you've got both halves of the starter box, and then a bunch of units added on top. Now, we are, of course, going to be having a bit of fun and criticizing and commenting on the game. But at the same time, we do want to try and actually see if we can pick up on any like extra information and new bits. So I say this right now, chat, if you notice anything, new, spam it in chat so I make sure I can pick it up. We can talk about it. Now, the first thing that someone's pointed out is that the Blood Angel army list doesn't have any Blood Angel units in it.
Which is not bad.
Yeah, so really useful.
Which is kind of funny.
One of the things
you can also see that Ceramite Sentinels is 3 detachment points, and the Orks are using more DACA and Dreadmob.
Ceramite Sentinels for the Space Marines, that is a detachment from one.
The Space Marines are using Force Position Take and Hold. The Orks are using Force Position Purge the Foe.
So you can't combine that with another detachment in 3,000 points. But as an Orc player, I'm looking at those detachments at the top there, and actually the fact that the Dread Mob is a 2 detachment point.
The audio is really popular. You guys can't hear them. I can turn them up.
Effectively, any of those new.
There you go. I can turn them up a bit.
Faction.
But Eddie is very quiet.
So a lot of the 6. What we had from our previous edition, the 6 stratagem-esque detachments, you will usually be starting, a bit higher.
I've turned it up a bit on the actual stream. Hopefully you guys can hear that now.
More sandboxed in
better
the rules that they apply to, like the Dread Mob, where you'd be, you know, applied to your walkers, your grot units, etc., like that.
I just turned it down a second whilst I was just doing a bit of a chat.
In making, or taking as many models as they wanted, making something that's a little bit more robust and has a bit of everything. You really,
now we do have the
targeted choices in your army to get the most.
I might
attachment.
change
now
the
that's
position
not
of where the chat is.
The case. You can have an auxiliary force you can attach on side your dread mob. Let's say you're taking a lot of Morkanauts, grot bits and pieces, and you can also attach a bunch of other units in there as well. It's going to be really, really cool to see how people flesh out their forces and get a lot more juice for the squeeze, so to speak. But running straight back through. Yep, go.
Yeah, go for it. So, yeah, Space Marine list, we've got.
So I was going to say the big thing is, do you guys want the chat
10
where it is right now, or do you want the chat
very good at taking out those big
a bit higher up?
Then you've got 3 dreadnoughts in the mix. 2 ballistic dreadnought. Oh, sorry, ballistic dreadnought.
Because obviously right now we're covering the
it's a great little combo.
we're covering the little game screen down here
of them. That's going to be really impactful in this game. Then moving on from that, the Desolator squad is going to be really cool as well. I hear the librarians.
I think this is only a quick overview.
Some insights over there. One of the things you also notice when you start building your own list of Elite Edition, a little bit of insight into how things are going to work. You'll actually now be listing what character is joined to what unit on your list. We haven't done that in this, just for the ease of, you know, learning for new players, you know, getting into the game and trying to experience things as we know and working towards where we're going to be pretty soon.
Because you've got to be aware that like they're going to change this, they're going to change what's on screen in the moment, so we need to be aware of
it's going to be great against the green skin
of that.
And then we have the Gladiator Lancer, Gladiator Reaper,
but hopefully as you can see with the where the camera is here, if we have our bits at the top, most of the
hands on that unit.
Screen down here will be fine
in this list. So basically taking the Armageddon box that's provided the bulk of the infantry to this force. And then
Marine detachment is just 1. It's Sermite Sentinels. It's 3 detachment points.
Medium tanks and dreadnoughts. This is a really
are they deploying right now?
All-round.
No, I think they're actually playing, and we're just missing the game.
A kind of codex compliant Space Marine force. Obviously, the other way.
Yeah, they're actually playing, guys.
If you wanted to lean very
so again,
into the Blood Angel.
This is why you led me a straight chat.
You could Sanguinary Guard and your Death Company.
Look, the Orks are moving forward.
A more representative codex Space Marine chapter that could be used by all.
The Orks are moving forward.
Indeed, and of course, as you could expect,
great spot here by. Oh no, that's the same as it is now, but everyone gets 1 command point at each round. So that's the same as it is now.
We can. So hopefully,
Orks went first, so they're on 2 because they.
And the
maybe there's
stated in Dread Mob and more.
Oh, maybe both players start on
purge the foe as the force disposition.
1, and then at the beginning of your turn you get 1. Yeah, maybe.
The first 2
Orks are on 2. That's an interesting spot. Yeah.
Awesome. We got Gazgul, Mag-Uk Thraka himself here on Armageddon, Painboy, Warboss, and a Weird Boy with the Grobshot Thunderbus. Then we have 2 units of 10 boys, 10 Gretchen, a battle wagon, a new big mech Dakar rig. Cannot wait.
Oh god, are they going to keep it like this for the entire match? I fucking hope.
Favorite miniatures that they brought out in the new set. 2x3 Death Copters, one of which is starting.
Let me see if I can.
10 commandos with dead shiny shooters, in addition to the 6 mega knobs and tank busters. That is going to give them a rapid fire. That is one of the new enhancements, and it's a brand new way to enhance your units and make them a little bit more the sum of their parts. And then a Morkanaut and a brand new war track to tie things together.
Yeah, so I mean, there's loads of stuff in that list. It's a good mix of stuff from across the Ork Codex. I think some of the ones to watch, absolutely, as you say, the Dakar rig is very powerful. Dakar rig combines really nicely with some of the abilities and stratagems from Dread Mob, particularly. Yes. So if you
I don't understand why. I don't really understand why we're listening to these bozos whilst these guys are playing the first turn.
Things does very well.
Surely we'd want to see what was happening in the first turn.
Many rerolls, basically, and it's already
like that. These guys down here are saying some important things, but we don't know what it is.
Pretty terrifying shooting output from the Dakar rig.
Indeed. And of course, giving you guys a little insights into our overlay in the top right-hand quadrant. If you watch any of our coverage of our open events, you'll see our mini-map, which is going to be maintained by Serbo Skull Tucker. And there's a lot of information there on what's moved, what has shot.
Just put the fan up a little bit. Tell me if it's annoying you guys. Hopefully we're too loud down the microphone.
And as you can see, the players are still going through a lot of the computations and mission structure, things like that. So we'll be joining it as soon as they get underway. We're going to hit a transition now over to our next slide and start unpacking even more new things. What are we seeing here?
Okay, let's have a look.
2 force dispositions combining together to create the scenario that they're playing effectively. So Purge the Foe, that is the Ork force. Purge the Foe is basically arguably the simplest version of the various different force dispositions you can take. Purge the Foe means you're trying to kill stuff. So if your army is very good and very aggressive, and what you like doing is moving forward, taking the fight to the enemy, killing enemy units, pushing enemy units off objectives, then Purge the Foe is a really good archetype of army to go for.
Absolutely.
Take and hold, on the other hand, is more of an objective claiming force. It's very good for something like Space Marines, where they can both push enemy units off objectives, but then also hold on.
This is interesting.
Literally,
to be fair,
objectives, you're trying to hold the objective. So you've got a force that is kind of relatively durable.
I can turn it up. Eddie is just very, guys. Eddie is just very quiet.
It's a kind of slow, constant. Push,
So I've got him on like maximum volume.
Claims ground and holds that ground. Take and hold is a really good disposition to go for.
Absolutely. And of course, these two cards are going to be very important for playing your games, especially in the.
I just got to turn it up. I just got to be a bit careful, you guys.
Pull this card out,
don't get your eardrums blown out by the alerts. I'll see if I can turn them off.
So we're going to hit straight over to the missions now and actually see what the results were. So you want to read out what Adrian has to do?
Yeah, so Unstoppable Force is the primary mission for Adrian. This is the Purge the Foe one. As you can see, if your opponent is a take and hold and you have Purge the Foe, this is the mission that you will be playing. And effectively there you can see there's a bunch of different ways to score victory points. So one of those victory points,
hopefully I've turned them off now.
Did you manage to kill some enemy units? That
seems very awkward.
That's exactly the sort of thing you'd be wanting to do. You've got one there, which is the end of your command.
Okay, let's look at the two missions, guys. Don't worry about the sound for a moment.
You also get
all they're saying is a bunch of bollocks.
You don't get any for your home objective, and that's important because basically your army is about going and taking stuff.
Yep.
You're not so fussed about protecting your own, although you might still want to stop the enemy.
One of my enemy units were destroyed.
And then you've got one there for at the end of the turn. You hold more objectives than your opponent. So and that one excluding home objectives again. So you need to be pushing forward, killing enemy units, taking objectives off them, and then you've got to try and hold the central objective. So end of the battle. So
to me, that seems like,
are you basically in the dominant?
I'm going to say right now, Purge the Foe looks like it's much better than
have you won the
take and hold. This is the second time I've seen a take and hold mission that looks like absolute dog shit.
Running forward and getting those early kills. You also want to be.
I mean, it's easy.
Bit, right?
This has got 3 ways of scoring. This has got 4 ways of scoring.
This seems quite powerful for the Orks, especially. Of course, you always want to try to do your best to marry up how you enjoy playing the game with your faction.
Yeah, I think take it hold is going to be very weak, guys.
This is very indicative of how Orks like to play a lot of the time. Just killing your opponent, just killing a unit and taking an objective off them in doing so will net you 6 points in this. And one thing you'll notice about the new mission structure, there is a lot more to do every turn, which I believe make things a lot more dynamic. You won't maybe not be able to always do and score every primary.
So apparently what the GW guys seem to, what the gameplay guys seem to be doing is like,
the squeeze, I mean,
the Orks has done some movement.
That's really exciting. Over on the other side of things, Paul will be attempting to hold one or more central objectives.
The guys playing the battle are actually playing it. Look, the Orks have scored victory points. They've got more command points. Literally, we're missing out on like an entire turn of this battle round.
In the 5th battle round, a very similar scoring for each objective.
Shut the fuck up, GW. We want to watch the game.
His deployment zone and then hunker down to the best of his.
What is this? What is going on?
A nice 8 points pretty much every turn, and then the last turn he gets to get a few more. Really, really cool. So it's going to be.
I can't believe that they're literally taught like.
And then Paul trying to hold the line as much.
This is awful.
Very, very exciting, and should be made for a very thematic and fun time.
This is actually this is awful.
Terrain time. Look at this gorgeous pre-painted terrain that should be available sometime in the future.
So this is like the shaky hand cam that they're showing off right now.
Dense. Now, Dense is going to work with a new hidden mechanic, which more likely than not the Orks are going to be using judiciously to try and keep themselves safe from this space.
Don't be wrong, the terrain looks good, the armies look good.
And of course, we got a lovely...
But we're just missing out on seeing the game being played. That's why we're here.
And so when you're in that terrain and you haven't fired, you will be hidden. So you'll have an exclusionary zone where you can't be interacted with
terrain time.
15 inches. Now negotiating that for
found footage of the Warhammer movie.
Needing to get out of his deployment zone to shoot while keeping himself as far away from the Orks as possible is really going to be...
The game looks better, don't get me wrong.
What do you think about the terrain, Eddie?
Yeah, so the terrain you're looking at on the battlefield currently is actually the stuff that comes as the unpainted version of the new terrain. So there's basically 2 different versions of new terrain coming out, all of it designed for specifically. This is the version that comes as a basic plastic kit. You can assemble yourself and you can paint it up. This has been painted by the wonderful team.
That's
over
huge.
Warhammer Plus battle reports. Terrain changes significantly in the new edition of Warhammer 40,000 in a whole bunch of ways. There's everything from being able to hide units, which is very useful for things like
this is the unpainted version of the pre-painted terrain that they've painted.
The debuffs.
So does that mean the stuff that they showed off in the trailer was the unpainted stuff painted well?
Cover from terrain now generally are at -1 to hit and shooting, and that does change the dynamic. certain guns become less effective shooting into units in terrain. Certain guns might become more effective. It depends on the type of gun that is fired.
I wonder if that means we haven't actually seen what the pre-paints of
a lot of the AP1 weaponry in the previous edition has
surely they can't have done that because that's just false advertising.
Trying to either engineer
that's misleading.
AP0 fire and then use sustained hits and lethal hits to try and generate your value.
Okay, we're seeing things.
Or better guns.
We're seeing things.
I'm really excited to see AP1 guns start to get a lot more agency back into the game.
Bolters and stuff, isn't it?
Exactly.
It does look a lot better top down. That does look nice.
A lot of the kind of battle line units or like medium elite level units, that sort of thing. A lot of the anti-infantry weapons become quite effective.
I will say this.
Notice about some of the deployments.
Everything's still hiding.
In the current edition of Warhammer 40,000,
everything is hiding.
Is to clump their units behind walls in pieces of terrain.
Yep.
And that's arguably less important now early in the game, because as long as the enemy doesn't move within 15 inches,
these commandos are dying.
If you haven't fired yet, you can't be shot at. So for example, you can see the Grot unit up in the top right-hand corner of the battlefield.
He's on the ruin
of Warhammer 40,000 because they could be targeted. But in the new edition,
they're getting shot from something. But we don't know what they're getting shot from because they're getting
pushes very forward, and they're unlikely to do that.
Correct.
To kill one
to kill Gretchens.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to project, a sprint out of your deployment zone to kill a unit of Gretchen on the backfield.
I just want to know what's happening in the game.
All right, so we've had turn 1 underway. The prediction should be up for you guys over on Twitch. Go and cast your vote. Who's going to win this battle? We had turn 1 taken by the Orks, and they just did a very simple moving outside and staging in these and off these terrain pieces.
Staging, I see. Is it 10th edition or 11th edition that we're playing?
Yes, they are. Adrian had an extremely fast Ork turn, and we've just seen an activation from the Desolators targeting this unit of commanders in the middle. A couple of them have been removed so far.
Okay. So the Desolators are targeting the Orks.
It's worth saying when you generate your mission,
line of sight
generates you the terrain map.
Correct.
So if you have a think about the objectives that those players were trying to achieve, you've got
why are
of the end game stuff is built around the central.
Why are there blue models?
The new edition of
why are there blue space marines on the board, guys?
Circular objective markers. What it does instead is say that certain pieces of terrain are the objectives. So that large central building in the middle of the battlefield is one of the objectives.
There's ultramarines in this game.
Objective. So that earns victory points for both of those players if they hold it at the end of the game.
No, though, it's all the same detachment, Eli. It's all under Sermite Sentinels. It's 3 detachment point detachment.
Basically a fight for the center. So your
why didn't movement, why hasn't GW just brought enough Blood Angels?
Trying to set up their play, but there is a huge amount of points on offer for the army that is able to.
Why isn't the £6 billion company painted up enough Blood Angels for the intro battle report?
The end of the game, that can't be the only play, but there's a big chunk of points in the center there.
Absolutely is for both players as well. Right now we're seeing the activation of.
I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm saying
screen right now investing.
Why didn't they make all the Marines look like Blood Angels for the intro game featuring the Blood Angels?
Paul was unable to get any hits, and now the Onslaught Gatling cannon is activating now. Looks like he's only put 1 wound, unfortunately, on the Def Copters. It'll be a safe to come right now.
Yeah, so it's worth talking about the way that.
Okay, that's a bit better. We're finally getting.
That's one of the things.
We're finally getting to a good look at the game.
Infantry and things like swarms.
It does look good.
It's quite easy to get cover saves because
it does look good.
As long as you're on a piece of scenery.
You're absolutely right. I misspoke.
As long as you're on a piece of scenery, you can gain it. But things like vehicles and monsters, it is still possible to get cover saves. And actually, if you position correctly across the battlefield, you can gain them. And effectively what you're trying to do is put a piece of scenery between you and the thing that's firing at you. So something like your Def Cop, I think, are mounted rather than infantry. They can gain it like that.
Yes, the Land Spirit has finished firing right now. It's rolling its reactive move. After it fires on its data sheet ability, it will move.
Okay, we're finally getting into it.
Murphy do that right now. So after firing, you will get a little move.
No, that's all right.
I think it's a very.
That's okay. It's warming up.
To see in action.
It's heating up. It's heating up. Okay.
Off to the races.
I think he's using it to block, isn't he? There, he's kind of taking the shot and then kind of moved it up to kind of get in the way.
Using it as a movable shield. Doesn't want his ballistas to be shut down next turn. I think is the key there. And that is the end of the turn for Paul Murphy. So very stable turn 1, very cautious by both players. Of course, they are relatively new to the game, as is everybody in the world.
It's very
do not be
cautious because if they go full send and move out, then they'll die.
There's a lot of firepower on the Space Marine side. You've got the Redemptor there. You've got 2.
Turn 1 staging, turn 2 go turn, guys.
There's a lot of guns waiting for the Orcs to get close.
I do know he used his redeploy ability to put the Gladiator Reaper back into reserve, and now he's holding it like a sword of Damocles over Adrian's head. I like that a lot. When you see where Gaskell ends up, where the boys try and use their
the Blood
might.
Angels have moved a
I
bit.
think this is a good choice by Paul. In saying that, there's a lot of long-range firepower. Also,
so
on the Orc side of things, we got the Morkanaut.
These guys moved from
as well. Cannot wait to see what they're able to do. War track.
Here.
So many exciting new models to explore, guys. We'll see the points updated just on our overlay, like I was saying before. Top right of screen, you can see the mini map, so you can see a true delineation of
reminiscent of those old school White Dwarf battle reports.
It's almost like we did it on purpose.
Yeah.
You can also see here, which is the turn and phase tracker. So right now we're into the command phase. That's circled there, and you will be excited to know
that he's the
phase structure and your turn structure has not changed going into the new edition. It'll still be the same tempo and cadence you know and love.
Yeah, so the kind of core of the game, if you've played the current edition of Warhammer 40,000, I think you'll be able to slot into the new edition fairly quickly. A lot of your data sheets for your army will be very similar to the ones they are currently. Most of them are the same. There's a couple of tweaks with FAQs and stuff. The big changes to army lists will come through the detachment points, which will be able to kind of change the kind of...
So Space Marines scored 13 points turn 1, Orcs scored 18. Both players started on 10 because painting score is still a thing in the game.
What we might see in this is that the movement phase, the shooting phases tend to be a little bit faster.
Yep.
Because Overwatch, I think Overwatch change is a big one in terms of the movement phase. That now happens at the end of the movement phase.
It would be such a perpetual thing where I'd move a unit and then ask my opponent, would you like to Overwatch? Move another one.
That is a good change. Fair play. That is a good change.
Now we're just doing it right at the end of the phase. I think it's much better.
And then
it is. It just means you just move out and then your opponent chooses what to Overwatch. It's fine.
Units with characters attached is the fast rolling.
I say it's better change.
Yes.
It makes the flow of the game quicker, but it makes the game a bit less tactical. But overall, and someone who likes a crunchy game, I think it is better to have it that way because it was annoying.
That isn't the case in the new edition. The rules basically, you roll all the hits, all the wounds, you hand them over to your opponent, they choose the order that they're going to be assigned to the models in that unit, and then they roll their saves, and it's the mechanism of the shooting does it kind of rolls itself.
Yeah, this is a really cool change in my mind because for the longest time it was a little bit to the defensive players' advantage if they had a mixed unit and they could really pick and choose how they wanted to roll things and engineer things a certain way. There is still some power in that because you can still like if you have a mixed unit, you can choose the order upon which you take the saves. For example, a unit of a cursed cultist that has the torments, you can choose to take it on the torments first, but then all the saves will be on the torments. You can't kill a torment, switch back, go back and forth. And so while you get to start and do it all from there, think of units like Gaskell and Makari in the say unit of 20 boys, or in this example, the Meganobs. If you have 20 boys and you don't have any real save apart from a t-shirt on the boys, you get to roll all your saves at once, take all the 1s and 2s out for all the boys being harmed. Let's say you got 6 boys left and you make 12 saves. All the 1s and 2s, you get to choose the lowest rolls to take out the boys, and then Makari's invuln just bang, 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 blocks out the rest at the end. So there's plenty to enjoy there from the generalship point of view still, but it's going to speed up the engagement a lot more.
And what you tend to find more often, certainly when you've got a very big difference between how durable the character is and how durable the unit is you do tend to find more instances where a lone...
Did they just say how you roll all of the saves and you just apply it to the best save in the unit?
But the mechanism of rolling is very quick. The example that the rulebook uses, because it calls out an example, is Celestine, 2 Gemini in a unit of Battle Sisters, which is like a weird mixed unit.
It is.
But the rules kind of walk you
through. So if I take an Ogren bodyguard,
that goes away.
Put it in a command squad, attach the command squad
we're going to get a full
to a platoon of
breakdown for you guys.
Guardsmen.
At this secondary.
My guardsmen have got a 4+ invulnerable save.
By Adrian. Of course, he has Unstoppable Force as his disposition. He's currently sitting on 18 victory points, getting 3 on turn 1 for primary. He did get Secure No Man's Land, which he achieved for 5. Outflank, unfortunately, was a little not the right timing for it. So he's actually just held. And one of the awesome things you can see here is you've got achieved, held, and discarded. It will be the 3 things and words you'll see on the status being a new thing we've added to our overlay.
It's worth talking about the way that secondaries work into the new edition. So one of the things
Swordsman Smith, it can't be like that. That's not possible.
Fairly similar, right? So you see a lot of recurring things that you've seen before.
That's huge if that's how it works.
This is basically the same thing I was trying to achieve in the last edition. One of the big changes is that sometimes when you drew your secondaries, certainly early in the game, you got when you...
That's huge.
I can definitely do that later in the game,
right.
But I can't do it now.
What is the best save in a unit? Just use that.
To score a nice, big, juicy kind of 5 or 6 points or something.
Yeah, one of the exciting things about the game now is
Bruto, but go back and just confirm that, man.
Score 15 of any either primary or secondary in the
So we're getting some information here about that. Okay, GW, I was shitting on you at first, but you're starting to.
But you can't have it all.
You're starting to throw some information out there. Okay, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I wasn't sure about what was going on with these commentators at first, but I'm kind of into it now. I'm kind of getting into it. All right.
Ones that are going to line up better at some timings than others.
Do you know what's funny?
Really cool timing tempo game.
I think they're doing it this way because if you just watch the game, it wouldn't feel that different to 10th edition. But by having the commentators there, they're starting to add. It makes it feel a lot different, which I don't actually mind. They want the game to look exciting.
Ability from his war,
and not everything you're trying to. The game might not pick up everything that you're trying to
get into the battlefield for that behind every line score. And of course, display of might. It's Orks. He has more units. He's probably going to be able to get that.
Yeah.
No, go back to shitting on them. I'm giving I always give it a balanced opinion. When I think something's bad, I shit on it. When I think something's good,
what are we reading here?
I praise it.
Yeah. So this is display of might. This is an example of a secondary card. So in any battle round for 2 VP, if there are more friendly units than enemy units, excluding aircraft and battle units within no man's land, you get 2 points. And then in any battle round at the end of your opponent's turn, if there are more friendly units than enemy units, excluding aircraft and battle shocked units, within no man's land, you get 5 points. So you've got 2 different ways to score this one.
I love this. This is a confidence secondary now. So you can just walk out, and have more in no man's land and take the 2 points, bank the points, or you can hold it and bet that your opponent can't put more in their turn, and at the end of their turn.
Interesting. So you can choose when to score it.
Change that's going to make.
You can be like, I'm just going to take my 2 VP, or you can be like, I'm going to hold on to it.
I haven't scored my points.
You don't have to technically score. You're not forced to score it. You choose when to score it. Interesting.
You're playing Orks. You haven't used the WA. You step up to get display of might, and you wave like 3 more points under their nose and be like, "Well, you got to come and do something about this. You want to step up to me?" I love that kind of stuff being built into our secondary deck.
And it's good as well because I think any chance where you have the opportunity for players to score more points.
The example was shoot 20 boys. We'll all say move any ones and twos. That would kill boys. Then take all the remaining hits on the invulnerable save.
A mental brinksmanship game going on as well.
The jump has occurred, guys. Here comes the weird boy jumping into the backfield behind enemy lines. Is a great secondary. Of course, we're playing a hammer and anvil.
Why would ones and twos remove edges? So
boys. Very deep deployment zones. But look at this wall.
I don't think it's clear.
From the Ceramite Sentinels blocking the front.
I don't think it's clear.
So very hard to break through the front. So he's just going to do the jump ability and go into the back. Now, the Death Copter is an interesting. So we've got these things we call staging positions. You'll see it on the mini map as well momentarily.
No, I get the boys of shit armor, but why would only ones and twos kill the boys?
Touching the terrain now.
Surely a worse save would kill the boys.
Where you'd have to have your
surely ones, twos, threes, 4, 5s
They just
need
to be touching the terrain outline. They just need to be touching this outline. People would say this is similar to what we had in the previous edition, where they could just, so then the colloquial term was to tow into the terrain in order to unlock the fields of fire. Now pretty much everything works like that. And that's going to be a dramatic change for people at home. Things like these Redemptor Dreadnoughts with their big bases that, they don't move slow, but they don't exactly move
Towing in back, boys.
Either. At times they couldn't
Towing in is back.
Terrain feature in order to use their
That's a huge change.
Well, now they just need to touch that terrain.
Huge change.
Back from the battle, right?
Massive.
Exactly. So if you've got something like
tow in, see everything.
Astra Militarum, right? So Imperial Guard, we're a little bit worried about some of the combat rules. They were like, will my tanks have a place? How will they work? Well, actually, you can sit quite deep and just kind of roll slightly into a terrain feature, and then basically the entire frontage of that terrain feature, as long as you can draw a true line of sight to something, opens up. So
that's huge. If you've only played 10th edition, you have no idea how massive that change is. Tow it into terrain
roll all the way through the terrain.
Fucking huge back in the day.
Like 4 or 5 inches.
There's a reason it went away. It's crazy they're bringing it back.
In the game, Paul Murphy has just rapid ingressed his Terminators onto the battlefield, as you can see in the middle of the screen right there. Rapid ingress is mostly unchanged. What is different now is the size of the objectives, and what Paul Murphy has just done is stolen the middle objective of Adrian, because usually if you were on an objective, the objective was of a certain size. There was no way for your opponent to rapid ingress or deep strike onto that objective. If you were touching it, you would just exclude them, even if they
true line of sight is the same.
If you're 1 inch into the control zone,
right, I'll explain quickly.
On it. Now we have terrain features that are and Paul was very much able to rapid ingress
in 10th edition.
The corner.
If this dreadnought wanted to see out of this ruin, the dreadnought would have to be wholly in the terrain, right?
Very heavily.
Yeah. So
now, all the Dreadnought needs to do is poke a tiny amount of its base into the terrain, and it can see out. So basically, you no longer have to wholly be in the terrain to be able to see out of the terrain. You just have to be in the terrain.
Scenarios, okay, not all of the scenarios.
That's why they say towing in,
and
because you
that
can
one
put a toe of a model
is very hard to defend,
and it can see through the terrain.
Which is why it's great for this
through that piece of terrain completely, not through all the terrain, but through the piece it's towing into
of the battlefield. So if you are trying to push opponents out of rapid ingress space or out of deep strike space, you do have to...
Thomas, I'm neither happy nor sad about towing in coming back. As for every opportunity that I'll be able to use to fuck someone with, someone's going to fuck me with it. It was a very fucky ability.
100%.
That's what we're saying.
The walls still matter.
It's going to be a scrap.
Yeah. Last piece of the puzzle is that
it becomes true line of sight.
Outside 8 inches, not outside 9 inches. So it's even harder to defend. And in fact, the screen.
You don't draw line of sight from the piece of the model that's in the terrain, guys. So if this Dreadnought puts this tiny bit in the terrain, even though only a tiny bit at the base of the terrain, it can draw line of sight from the top of the model still.
No exclusion.
That's how it works.
Between two. Now that's going to be really tightening things up for players.
You're not drawing line of sight from the piece of the model in the terrain,
where every model in a unit
that's
must be inside 9 inches of each other.
Yeah.
The footprints and the
are you in terrain to draw line of sight from where you want on your model?
A massive unit of cultists that could almost screen out the entire backfield of your
20
screen, something like that. You can't do that anymore. You're limited. It's quite a big space still. You've got like 8 inches on either side and then 9 and another 8, but it's not the entirety of your deployment zone screened by one unit anymore.
So Paul has activated Overwatch here now at the end of the movement phase. Of course, end of the movement phase, he's both gotten to Overwatch and Rapid Ingress, and he's overwatching into this wounded unit of copters. That little token there denoting the blood chalice is denoting the Oath of Moment for Paul Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I do think it's a real shame they didn't have the entire Space Marine army look like Blood Angels.
Do we know which unit is overwatching?
I do think that is a shame.
It's the intercessors, the big blob of 20 intercessors. And unfortunately,
it's not a massive problem, but I do think it's bothering me more than it rationally should, but it is bothering me.
Overwatch is snap shooting, is how it's referred to now. So Overwatch has always been hits on 6s. Obviously, if you've got things like torrent weapons automatically hit, they're very good at Overwatch. There are a bunch of things that trigger things called snap shooting. Snap shooting has very similar rules.
The turret's like a big deal for heavy. It absolutely is.
There's a couple of more
good observations, massive deal.
But it also applies to a couple of other instances.
The reason I pointed that out is because previously in the edition we're just
Swords and Smith only monster walks in turret. That is not correct. Unless the commentators are wrong in this, they specifically mentioned Imperial Guard tanks benefiting from it as well.
Rerolls when you snap shoot. So I've got to tell you,
but like you said, the commentators could be wrong. But I don't think it's set. I think it's probably everyone can do it.
It's going to be a torrent unit. There are some other exceptions, units that have a lot of shots and sustained hits.
Yeah, sustained hits rerolls.
Chat saying they believe they confirm the 9-inch coherency.
Rerolls to be had when you snap shoot. So when you Overwatch into something that's Oath of Moment, usually
every model's got to be within 9 inches of every other model in the squad.
Intercessor shots in this case.
So you can't string out.
Now you don't get the rerolls. It's interesting.
Yeah, so
it's going to really change.
You can't string out.
Some armies, that's a big thing. For some armies that weren't able to unlock the rerolls anyway, it's not going to make as much difference. But it certainly means.
Oh, was it sarcasm? Tanks ain't got toes. Sorry, it's a rapid change of situation, man. I ain't got time for sarcasm, bro.
It's a couple of wounds now. Of course, cover reduced the firing efficiency of the Orks right now. 1 saved by Paul Murphy. 3 damage each. 6 taken. That was 3 taken on that. So the big question I have, which I don't know if they covered it, so chat, if you know, I'd love to, to get that info off you. But did they cover whether if you have one model towing into the terrain, does the whole unit benefit from cover?
When they're firing to things that have,
because obviously you now do cover on the to hit roll, so you can't do saves based on who's in cover and who's not, and you can't do hits based on who's in cover and who's not. You just hit the unit.
Unfortunately, the land speeder has gone down to the second unit of cofters. We will wait to see if it deadly demises. Looks like it doesn't have deadly demise. We're learning together. Paul has the data sheet right in front of him.
The land speeder doesn't have deadly demise
before the game to not lose any of the new models.
What? It was. I think that's a mistake on the data sheet.
First death of the. Sorry there, guys. If you're looking forward to seeing that land speeder flying around, let's take our word for it. That it's really good.
We all know the new model curse. Yeah. We're all very familiar with the new
land speeder gone.
Even the mighty Paul Murphy is not immune. But let's pull up the data sheet. Actually, let's have a little bit of a deep dive there, so you could see that is heroic intervention, which will be coming up for you guys later. We hope. Although with the armies that we have here, Orks are always going to be pressing the button at some point.
Yeah, no deadly demise on the land speeder.
The land speeder data sheet. Give us a little rundown here.
Yeah, so this is the land speeder. This is a very useful little fast skimmer, effectively for the Space Marines. You can use it in any Codex compliant Space Marine chapter. It has a choice of weapons there. You've got multi-melter, you've got heavy flame, you've got onslaught Gatling cannons. It also comes with some underslung Storm Fury missiles. It is a really useful little problem-solving, fast-moving thing. It's always useful to have fast vehicles that can grab objectives, can move around.
Does that mean my Sentinels won't have deadly demise? It has a really useful
little ability where if you fire...
Does that mean my Hippogriffs won't have deadly demise?
In your shooting phase, you can then kind of move D6
because this thing is because remember guys, the land speeder has a better defensive profile
into a piece of terrain,
than the Hippogriff.
Fire at something and then
so surely if this thing is so light it doesn't explode,
this is a really,
the even lighter Hippogriff wouldn't explode, right?
Carry things, or if you want to make it even faster, even more quicker at zipping up the board and taking objectives. So the battle that we've got here, Paul had the one land speeder from the Armageddon box. I can absolutely foresee people taking 3 of these in a force. And
I wonder if the demise is getting removed from the game.
Zip around and take objectives, harry little enemy units, combine their firepower when they need to take out serious threats. They are of like the sort of size of unit that is not big enough to warrant sending a really chunky unit after, but is durable enough that you can't kill it with like a small infantry unit or something. So you need the combined firepower of multiple units is exactly what we saw there with 2 Death Copter units, 2 great units. Both had to fire into it in order to take it out.
Exactly right. We did just see fire from the new War Track shooting into the Combat Weapon Lieutenant, able to get within the Lone Op range. Left the Combat Weapon Lieutenant, I believe, on 2 wounds remaining after all said and
That's pretty good.
And I think we're seeing another
The new War Track is quite diddy when you look at it down here.
He's content with his position now. He has been planning to score outflank that he held in the previous turn, and he's planning to get it this turn. As you can see, the War Track and the Death Copters within 6 of the table edges. I wonder if we can pull up the outflank.
I'm kind of curious about what the Orc players' game plan is, because he's got,
and it'd be cool to see.
He's got Purge the Foe, yet he's not really attacking very much.
Charge phase now for Adrian. I'm not sure he has any charges, and the rapid. He was just stating the rapid ingress of Paul Murphy with the Terminators might have messed up his display of might count as well.
Yeah, so here's the outflank secondary before we talk about that. So outflank effectively is one of the new secondary missions.
Did the Weird Boy to jump on his own?
More friendly units.
The Weird Boy just soloed a jump.
6.
Interesting.
One or more.
I just expected a unit of 20 boys to be with it.
You get 3 points for pushing a unit up one of the flanks. Which is relatively easy to score 3 victory points, right? So knowing this is in the deck, you might consider like, right, I'm going to make sure that at least some of my units are somewhere near the table edges most of the time.
This Jewish stream is pretty terrible.
Anyway. This is a really easy one to score for things like Death Copters, things like Land Speeders.
Definitely different to what I was expecting.
Happily running up the edges of the board anyway.
I honestly thought
2 or more friendly units, excluding aircraft,
they would just have
within 6 of
an overhead camera,
victory points. So again,
2 players mic'd up.
This I think
playing the game
changes things like how you might want to deploy your army.
It seems like
will make you
the game that's actually being played
on the flanks
is just like B-roll.
In my army list, I've got at least 2 units that I could.
Does that make sense? Like
to score this without
the game is basically B-roll for the commentators.
The War Track, a great
talking about what new shit they want to talk about for the game in general.
Those sorts of things are ideal
for the edition in general.
Absolutely right. And then some of the ones you know and love, enabling you to reach fire for your deployments battlefield edge as well.
So this is basically live B-roll.
Your Vespid, your
and the commentators are just basically using this as an opportunity to tell you about new things coming in the edition.
We're going to hit our
whilst the players play the game in the background.
Breakdown as well as soon as that gets up.
Oh, there's been technical problems, Gaming Stuka. This is how they fixed them.
There we go. So behind enemy lines was scored, and then 5 on outflank. Really well done there, and he's going to be holding display of might now under Paul Murphy's nose. He does have enough to score the 2 points. He's actually chosen not to score it. He's going to hold it. Yeah.
So I'm exactly what you were saying before, right? Which is that he's got the war ready. You've got the big unit of Terminators in the middle. I am foreseeing potentially a Gazgul Terminator combat showdown in the middle of the battlefield. There is a lot of.
I feel like Gazgul probably beats the absolute piss out of Terminators, but I guess we'll find out.
There's a lot of combat output in that army. Ready to
battle ready points are still in the game, correct?
Now Paul Murphy's secondary.
The Orks are steaming ahead, man.
Plunder, which in the current version
of the game, are steaming ahead. Really but I think what's basically happening is Paul Murphy is like the chill guy, the commentator. He's just a commentator, right? And Adrian, I think, is from, is it Tabletop Titans, is it? Or something like that. So I think basically what's happening is Adrian Phillips is just playing it like super cagey, probably quite competitively.
To try and get 3 of those 4 cards.
And he's basically just like, I don't need to move out and expose myself. I can just score loads of points whilst my less experienced opponents sort of
unit of boys
bimbles around, essentially.
The Weird Boy.
It's not
he actually left the weird boy solo.
I'm not sure.
To use him as a piece like this. He was tossing it up in list construction, and we're going to leave it.
Yeah, basically what you're seeing here is a classic example of when you've got a new player
into the back line and was able to get more
versus an experienced player
behind enemy lines with a single model. Really well done.
I'm not sure that's the message GW wants to show off with this game.
Units that can join other units.
Yep.
There are leader units. The weird boy is an example of a leader unit. Leaders you can use in two different ways. You can either use them on their own, or you can.
This is going to be a very common experience for people coming
in
because it's continuation edition. Man, you know what they should have done?
They tend to be the more powerful.
They should have had one player using 4 Catan,
which
or 3 Defilers.
Not use on their own, but that you can attach to a unit, and this will be things like.
Welcome to your beginner game.
It's not a character you can have on running around solo, but he is able to join into the units, and that does slightly limit.
Yeah, exactly, Dungus Dingus, exactly.
One-off characters you can have, so you tend to have to invest in the more expensive leader versions rather than the support ones.
Yeah, another awesome change. Paul Murphy, as feeling the vengeance and the red thirst, he's like, well, you killed my light vehicle, so I'm going to oath your war track and line up a dreadnought and a whole unit of Terminators on
Obviously not the red thirst for those particular units, though, because those were the
vicarious.
Yeah, living.
Why are they Ultramarines, Eddie?
You can fight in close.
Why are there Ultramarines, Eddie?
Duel coming up because the librarian has turned himself around and is moving to take on the weird boy there at the back of the battlefield.
No, it's not going to be an epic duel.
Wizard fight. Oh, and a dread.
No.
Come on. Paul doesn't play fair.
That's not fair.
He's not playing fair.
Do you see?
Very funny. Paul stating a bit of thematic element to this game as well. Of course, it's on Armageddon. These boys both trying to put on.
Oh, we're going to get an epic wizard duel. No, we're not.
Librarian unattached as well. I think they maybe made an agreement, a handshake agreement. I want to attach my weird boy if you don't attach your librarian.
I think, having a wizard duel sounds cool, but then bringing a dreadnought, I think is.
Yeah, it's also very funny that he just has a Lancer looking there as well.
And a Lancer. I mean, I think that Weird Boy's days might be numbered, but
I'm pretty sure.
The Lancer might have other things to worry about. I think he's moving up to make sure that the death on that war track is.
But hey, that Weird Boy scored like 7 points.
He's done good. He's done good.
Totally fine. Totally fine exchange. I'd be happy with that. We're going to hit the top down now.
The Dreadnought is familiar. I love it.
Sensible life choices.
No,
anyway,
wouldn't be there if they had any common sense. With all the Orks, maybe Gazkul has a rudimentary level of common sense.
I think so, yeah. I'm very much looking for. I think the Blood Angels and Ultramarines are going to score very well on this turn. They've managed to kind of position themselves to take out some of the Ork units, but the bulk of the Ork force hasn't really committed yet. There is an awful lot of stuff waiting in that battle wagon. You've got that Gorkanaut. You've got there's a lot of Orks ready to pounce.
Now it's very interesting. He's trying to get the max amount of output out of these Terminators. He's going to be using the Terminators he stated to shoot back into the Commandos. If he's able to clear them, then charge into the war track and take this objective, that would be tempting target as well as getting the kill and the holds he needs in the midboard to really start racking up those primary points. In addition to getting a couple of his secondary scored as well.
Maybe it's a bit closer than I thought.
Could be getting all the points here for Paul.
I think that the difference between that unit and the Weird Boy unit is the Weird Boy is a relatively low points investment.
Yeah.
Whereas the Terminators are one of the best units in Paul's army
to
take out a lot of the stuff of the Ork force. So he has committed arguably his most powerful combat piece very early to kind of make those points. And it might pay off for him. But they are going to have to weather an awful lot of
an awful lot.
Yeah, and they'll be on the terrain feature, so they can definitely be seen after they're executing that charge, if that's how Paul decides to go with it. Now pulling up the Vanguard veterans as well in their jump packs, they're going to be going for those Def Copters. I'd love to see him do something to go and engage with the next unit of Def Copters as well, possibly pulling this Ballistas down to see on this angle. Because that's next turn's problem right there. I always want to tell people,
it's a war track.
Think about what your
track is. The new little buggy. It's not the truck.
What's he set up? In order to kind of counterattack into that.
Intercessor stepping up as well.
Yeah.
And right now, Paul is actually stating, I actually have this problem here because I don't want to have to stay. I didn't want to all stay within 9 inches of each other. I wanted to spread out more, and now we can't. So that's actually really cool. That's already coming up in this game.
9-inch coherency.
There's arguably a case there for. Rather than take that big squad of 10, is that 2 squads of 5?
9-inch coherency.
There are other options there. You get some benefits for having big squads of 10 because stratagems and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized why they've done it, guys.
Might also be the way to go.
I just realized why they've done the
Sentinels specifically. I know
the Ultramarines and the Blood Angels fighting side by side.
The wound, and of course their AP1 guns.
It's because that's what's in the trailer.
If they're firing into the same target,
they're like recreating the battle from the trailer.
Terrifying prospect for a lot of armies, especially things like the Orks, where on a single.
what it is.
He could technically do a lot of damage to even things like Mega Knobs now, where previously that AP1 would have been completely negated by Mega cover.
It's twice as good into
infantry, sir.
Good for you.
Right. So he was
Global infantry made me the man I am today.
Powerful. So
me turning my alerts off didn't turn them off.
Is now a weapon of fear.
Absolutely is.
And lots of armies have access.
You're right, Sideswipe. Sorry, I missed it.
Shuriken, a lot of those have got similar sort of levels of AP. Lots of the Tau guns are in the same sort of ball.
We'll catch up on super chats after the
medium range rapid fire stuff that becomes very.
Authors are like a pause in the game, so
we're going to hit the.
Might be a little bit of a while, but I will get back to you.
And we're going to talk about the shooting phase of Paul Murphy, which is about to occur.
Okay, let's have a look.
Yeah, so this is the Terminators are currently firing. The Terminators obviously have got a lot of firepower. They've got the Storm Bolters. They've got assault cannon there as well. So they're just throwing wounds into stuff. Worth talking for a second about Paul's army, because this is a relatively new sub-faction.
Yeah,
it is. This detachment is currently in the current edition, but it's one of the ones that came out in the last few months. Run in to the new.
It might be okay. That might be the assault cannon.
The Ceramite Sentinel.
That was the assault cannon.
This is a detachment that gives you rerolls to 1 and to hit and to wound.
Yes.
If you are on a piece of terrain, as long as you haven't moved more than 3 that turn, and as long as you weren't set up that turn. And the reason that is really powerful into the new edition of Warhammer 40,000 is, as you can see, almost every unit on the battlefield currently is in a piece of terrain. So they are just it becomes very reliable, because most of your fights now take place on a terrain feature. So any army that's got an ability that does something when on a terrain feature becomes very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've put some paper in the bottom of the dice trays. I don't really know why.
Work with
you see how it's moving around a lot?
I would imagine they knew what was coming. I would imagine.
You would imagine.
Now I've spotted it. I can't
3
see
wins
it.
in on the Commandos, 5 up saves, 3 down there.
Yeah, so Commandos do not win a shootout against a Terminator unit. Although this Commando unit does have the upgrade that allows them to have more shots at rapid fire.
Yeah.
I think that the Ork army here has selected 3 of their units. There's the Orks, the Mega Knobs, and there's one of the unit who's which escapes me. The boys, maybe.
The boys, the Tank Busters, the Commandos, and the Mega Knobs.
Yes, all of those units have rapid fire, which is an upgrade that you can give them in the Mordaka detachment.
Oh, they get
really
rapid fire.
Just get some more shots.
It's cool now to think of upgrades like enhancements for units, not characters. And of course, there is that distinction. Do you have enhancements for that only go on your characters?
You heard me.
Sorry.
Said creep.
You have enhancements that go on the units, and you have the ones just for characters. They're split now, and you can take 3 of each at a Strike Force game. There's even some exclusionary ones in specific detachments, which lets you take a 4th one as well. Thinking about stuff like the Empress Champion detachment for Black Templars, where that one does not count towards your overall.
Frog, I'm just saying the table looks completely low effort to me compared to small studio battle ports. That's because GW doesn't sell GW branded
kind of primary target.
Scatter rocks and reindeer moss, so they won't use it.
To try and shoot down. So, but
I'm kind of joking, but at the same time, I'm not. They will only use official GW products.
They're really great.
But wait, do they sell this battle mat? That might be bollocks.
So, 9 shots.
I don't think they sell this battle mat, do they? So probably bollocks.
AP1, 2 damage. You're gonna have sustain hits built in, and then they get blast shooting as non-monster vehicles.
It does look like
really pop off there.
They could have put a few.
You imagine, a big
bits of rocks and rubble and
big unit of guardsmen,
bits of moss around, maybe
26 models.
It is a little
guardsmen, and then they get blast.
It is a little.
All of a sudden, they double their shot
flat.
Yeah, into things like a cursed cultist, those kind of like big mobs. And stuff
it's the old kill team map. Oh, okay. Then they've only used official GW products. Then that's why there's no.
They're very good into 10
moss and stuff.
20s.
Even 10 boys, where they get 9 shots, they'd be going up by more than 50% because they get two extra shots each into 10 boys, and that's huge. They go for 9 shots to 15 with sustained hits built in. Add Oath of Moment on top of that, you could be getting 17, 18 hits.
You could remove the unit in a simple way.
Exactly right. Yeah.
This is
So I do like the little pocket there. Look at that brand new librarian as well. Spectacular miniature.
Yeah, so these armies are painted by the wonderful team at the Warhammer TV Battle Report crew. These are very nicely painted forces. These are obviously the
not heavy metal
of the Armageddon.
What happened to heavy metal?
Blood Angels expanded
just as for heavy metal.
A combined Space Marine force. A good mix of different units. The Orks as well also look lovely. That is a Brutalis Dreadnought there, and also a tape measure. But yeah, Brutalis.
Just whilst they're wanking each other off.
I think
quick shout out. Active Nate, thanks for super chat. $1 billion company, boys and girls. Billions.
So I just had the Librarian activate into the Weird Boy, leaving the Weird Boy on 2 wounds remaining. Now the Brutalis with its twin multi-melter is about to go.
Okay, we know how that's going to go, don't we? The Weird Boy's dead. Yeah, the Weird Boy's dead.
Yeah, so the Weird Boy
Curry Kane, thank you for 13 months. Beef, can't wait for the run over the GW stream.
Might have been enough to kill him. But let the wizard have a shoot first.
Snow Peace Team, thank you for super chat. Catan spam versus the final spam. Welcome to 11th edition, motherfucker.
Almost killed it, but then the Brutalis absolutely lifted it.
Thank you for the gift of membership. And so, Newbie, thank you for super chat. We'll check that meme out in a moment.
And that's useful as well for the Space Marines, because even though a lone weird boy is maybe not the most terrifying opponent, as you saw already, it's a phenomenal scoring
value generating piece. Now we've got the Ballistus Dreadnought shooting into the unit of 2 Death Copters that have been born down.
Don't forget, guys,
Vanguard veterans.
11th edition is going to be much more narrative.
Obviously, a decent amount of firepower there. You've got a couple of last cannon shots.
Let me use my weird boy as a
taking out Death Copters. Any one of those that gets through
as an arbitrary point scoring unit.
Out right, so not beyond the realms of possibility that this whole unit just gets lifted from this shooting.
I'm being overly harsh, but
so we just had the 1 hit from the last cannon.
It's not their fault. There's only so much they can do within the confines that they've made for themselves.
Has 4 wounds apiece, so a 3+ does dome a Death Copter, and only 1 left. And now we've got the
it's the nudge on the table right now.
We're rolling 1s here for Ceramite Sentinels using a terrain feature, and there we go. 2 wounds on the Death Copter will be AP 2d6 damage, as you know and love.
That feels like enough to me.
So, quick one here. Actually, I can do this. Actually,
and here comes the saves from Adrian.
I'm going to run a poll.
6-ups, fails it. 4 wounds.
I was going to say, Mass, you got 500 people right now. Amazing. I'm going to run a poll.
Because he has the Vanguard.
What do you think of
that was the shooting there. The Ballistic Dreadnought has been a staple of Space Marine armies for a very long time. It is very reliable. It has 4 very good anti-tank shots. The only thing that sometimes happens is exactly
very unemotional,
just a random amount of damage. Sometimes it just rolls a 1, which is exactly what
one word options.
There are 1s on dice, just like there's 6s.
There's a 1. Yeah, there's a 1. The Vanguard Veteran Squad.
I don't want to use like evocative language to try and influence anyone's opinion. Literally, just you'll see the poll and you'll see I've tried to be fair with it.
They are surprisingly good into vehicles because they've got those relic blades, which are strength 5, but they get +1 to wound on the charge. So effectively, they're kind of imagine their strength 7.
So polls running now, guys. We'll let it
able to punch
take a quick snap poll
confidently
after the first. This is after the end of 2 turns.
So they are a scary proposition on the charge.
And one of the main reasons that Death Copter is alive is
just first impressions,
and is getting, I believe, the -1 to hit the benefit of
Sprig. Stop spamming chat. It's a serious stream. Serious, not that serious.
Yeah, and so I believe that would occur in that interaction because I saw a poll saying he's lamenting you missed with a couple of 3s there.
Yeah. So the Ballistus is kind of not got a clean shot on it. So it would have been.
Obviously, we'll announce the results of those poll in a few minutes.
Big impact on the game.
So if we do this part of a stream highlight, you'll know what the result was.
Moving from 5s to 6s, that's a big impact. But even on Space Marines, it's effectively reducing your firing output by 25%. So things that used to be a sure.
They're just talking a lot about how the mass one to hit terrain affects things. Of course, they are using a GW map. Look, you can see it there, guys.
On the Commando, that was.
So they've only used official GW products. That's why there's no like stones and rubble and stuff.
Previously, so there's only 1 left there, and the Desolators.
I guess there's an element of them wanting to show off, like, hey, if you're a beginner, this is how great you can have your boards looking almost right out the box.
Fire at the Commandos because
I can understand the angle they're going for, but
so they could always fire, but if you cannot see them, if you will hit on 6s. If another unit in your army can see them, you'll hit on 4s, and then of course you direct fire, just hit on ballistic skill. So there is a change to indirect fire for you guys. Take that one to the bank. If you cannot see the unit with any unit in your army at all, if you're just doing the random indirect fire, hoping and praying, you will hit on 6s now.
Yeah, it makes it still worth doing if there's like an odd enemy unit on.
So they said,
one model. Or
if you are doing indirect fire, you can't. No one can see the unit. Hit on 6s.
Indirect fire.
If one enemy unit from your army, if one unit from your army can see the enemy unit, you hit on 4s. So no mass one to hit or anything like that. Just 4s or more.
Now a little bit more. Pay the price for your very powerful guns at the back of the table.
I like that.
To charge into the war track.
Yeah,
and we have the Vanguard veterans into
and then heavy and stuff like that. Heavy and take aim.
You would imagine
that will just
that the Terminator will probably
play into if you're doing direct fire with your artillery.
The death.
I like that. Very clean.
Alongside the
very simple.
Adam, I see you're a big fan.
Look at that model. It is so pretty to me. Such a fan.
He is of course.
That got a chuckle out of me, GW. You can have a chuckle out of me. That was good.
I think that was.
He does look. It is a good model.
It was, but I think Paul's happy with it because he rolled quite low there, and of course just needs to get within engagement range, which is 2 inches now. If you can, you must base with the charge. You must roll high enough to base the model with the charge, but you just have to move
fighting through walls
now in the charge phase.
So I think he must have rolled like, the absolute best thing for him there, didn't he? So he rolled so badly that he wasn't able to kind of
we're still fighting through the walls, boys.
Within 2 inches of engagement range.
To be fair, the whole point of the change is to stop people from not being able to fight through the walls. I just still find it funny when you've got a solid wall
because
people are
previously you would have
I'm probably being a bit facetious.
40 mil puck in the middle there. That was the actual objective. And when you piled and consolidated without any enemies around, you'd always have to head towards the center of that. But now our terrain features are this big, and there is no center to it. So if you want to pile in towards the closest objective, you're just piling in any direction towards this. Yeah. Which means you can jump back into through walls now. You can go out of line of sight around corners now. You can do all sorts of judicious things with your piles and consolidates. Really exciting. A lot of generation and skill expression.
It's also quite difficult now to screen out an objective with a unit sitting on it. So what used to happen sometimes.
That is a good change
if you had a
overall.
10 or 20 or something like that.
It's a big change. It's very impactful, but genuinely, I'm happy with that.
Of the enemy being able to kind of push you off unless they killed a lot of you. Now it's if you look at the size of that central terrain piece. Almost impossible for even multiple units to hold that whole thing without to be able to push on it. So you usually now have to fight over the objectives.
Yeah, if you're going to take a terrain piece, you've got to absolutely dominate that terrain piece. I do think there is going to have some knock-on effects with how players basically just go, well, it's time to go absolute smash fuck. Trying to hold terrain pieces, just like full aggression, attack past the terrain pieces. I do think that's the direction things will go after players are optimizing the game, but we'll see.
Without pulling, the whole unit right in the middle, ready to be devoured by the jaws of your opponent.
Yeah, or obviously like multiple smaller units might also be the way to do it. So there's lots of things to think about there in list construction in terms of how you put your force together.
So turn the net is attacking now, re-rolling everything.
The game is going quickly. I do agree. The game is going quickly. Sideswipe.
War track. I think players clearly not getting the memo, but making sure they don't kill the new models early.
Wounds done to the land speeder there. That was hitting on threes.
Land speeder dead. War track dead.
There's a bucket of 6.
The thing is that both of those vehicles are cheap, disposable light attack vehicles, so it makes sense. It's actually a rather natural display of what you could expect to happen with those vehicles, so I'm not against it.
Really. So they are strength 8. They're punching at 2 damage each with decent AP as well, so they are quite able to pick up things like from war track. I think that Adrian would have absolutely known that was on the cards. Potentially, there was also a dreadnought menacing there. When you push that unit forward to score that objective, war track is the perfect sort of thing where you can go, actually, if this dies, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And now,
exactly.
Now nature is healing.
It's actually a good display of what you intend to do with the unit. So you might as well, rather than having an overly curated game, you might as well just show off.
We did have a wizard battle as well.
Better to show off the natural tempo.
We also saw, we're now going to see the Vanguard squad and the Chaplain swinging into this. I would have thought that the Chaplain alone could probably
He is, and that's exactly where we're starting here.
The remaining
so here's the Chaplain
Death Copters
hitting with everything, hitting on 2s, lays them all down, and then forced a wound here, strength 6, toughness 6, AP 2 for 2 damage.
Ooh, no wounds.
And re-rolling 1s here. That is not a good roll, Paul Murphy.
I think the Chaplain also managed to do, this particular Chaplain has also got an ability to do mortal wounds in close combat, so I think he also took a wound off.
He got a wound
before he started swinging, which is really cool. And he hits pretty hard himself, and he gives
the Chaplain didn't kill the Orc.
The Copter did survive. He rolled 1 wound,
but
hit the 6.
That's just unlucky on the space marine player side.
I believe these players said it's AP 1 on the Crozius.
Yeah, the Crozius
might be thinking about
strength 6, 2 damage.
Maybe thinking about some of the more souped up Croziuses out there from the Black Templars.
There's a few other ones that have more AP, but the standard Crozius is AP 1. The Vanguard Veterans standard AP, I believe, is
Chaplains aren't all that punchy. They're fine, but they're not
hitting 3s.
And this is something that they've kind of always been like this. So they have always been like support characters. They've always been like.
It's only
like if you have a chaplain and a captain, I always feel like historically the captains have always done more damage. So
it'd be a little funny.
Yeah, that's why the captain's in charge
at this point. Actually, although I think they will, just getting into combat with it is going to limit its options for next turn.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say, I didn't do the job, but job done is my little moniker.
I am looking forward to seeing how the Orcs respond to that Terminator unit in particular. We've got a big battle wagon there. I'm not sure if we know what's in the battle wagon. I'm sure we can find out from the table.
I will believe the things that I can't see for process of elimination. The things I can't see on the table.
Just need to
and one of the unit of boys.
Spam chat. Try and get the on-screen chat.
Vanguard veterans are fighting there.
There we go.
1 extra on the rerolls, and he's got a couple of lethals he's taken out of the pile as well.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
5s going to 4s on the wound roll, thanks to the +1.
I meant to do 07. I'll just do it too quickly.
And rerolling the 1s here because of Ceramite Sentinels.
Ceramite Sentinels is definitely paying off at the moment.
Paul saying, I was always a Ceramite Sentinels fan. Long-term Ceramite Sentinels player.
Yeah, we had a good chat with Paul before the game about so his own Blood Angel army is very kind of themed into the Barlight units, like the Sanguinary Guard and Death Company.
Yeah.
So this is playing with much more of a kind of
I could have done that a much easier way, actually.
Practice games gotten ahead of this. He's really been loving the Ceramite Sentinels, the rerolls of 1s to hit and wound, and you've seen that there pay off.
That would have killed all 3. If there was
so the Vanguard veterans actually didn't need any of the help. They did it all by themselves. There we go. That's the Vanguard veteran unit. This basically they are the equivalent of Stern Guard.
Exactly.
I have to say,
Marine equivalent. Of this is an elite unit.
I'm taking credit for this one. I said that the Vanguard veterans would look much better in game than they did on the pictures. I said on the pictures.
If I may be so bold, I think they're even this edition. I think you want to think about them even leveled up from that, more like a Blade Guard with jump.
I was going to say, the Vanguard veterans, when they were showing the pictures of the models, I was just seeing what the comments said. The Vanguard veterans, when they were showing the models off, they were showing like individuals off against a white background. And I said, this is not doing them any favors. They do look shit. This is why everyone's hating on them. Seeing them there in game,
community website
from an angle, looking down, I actually thought they looked really good.
Previously, you used to
I actually did
terrain features and up and over like enemy units and things like that.
I actually thought they looked really good.
You can now just take off 2 from your move and move your full distance effectively.
I think GW needs to start thinking about other ways of like
really good
photographing the models and showing them off, because this happens all the time where a model looks so much worse in the previews than it does when it's actually in its intended environment.
Really good for Demon Primarchs with wings.
I think, honestly, so Dragon, I think they looked a lot better just then than they looked in any of the pictures. I think the pictures look terrible. I think just then they look pretty good.
Up now, but he did score.
Yeah, they always look better in person. Always. And I'm not a GW ball washer.
And he's been able to actually push the Orks completely off any objectives in the middle of the table. So well done to him there. Great turn. He's going to limit the primary score of the Orks on the crack back. But this is the big thing. How often do you see people rocking up a 14 on their primary on turn 2? Usually it's say, oh wow, that's something really terrible has happened. But in this case, no, that's actually was just 2 very astute units being used by Adrian Phillips. And these are the things you want to zero in on the primary. There's a lot more primary up for grabs turn by turn. That doesn't result in taking you off an objective and you holding an objective through your
the Orc player
proactive with the primary.
Might have a bit of a go turn now.
See in the new edition, which I love a lot.
We'll see though. I'm not. If I was talking about where I thought this game was at right now,
is one of the command points.
I think that the Orc players have definitely come off worse after 2 turns.
It's going to be really interesting. We're waiting to see the because
if you look at the disposition of the forces,
connect with 2 of the 2.
You know what? I'm just going to turn the commentators. I'm turning the commentators down for a second. All right, fuck them for a second. Right. Let me just give you my comment on where the game is after 2 turns. Right. The Space Marine player has a relatively unbroken line of models, whereas you look at the Orc player, there's not a lot of forces over in this corner. If you look at the Marines, we've got the Dreadnought here, supported by the Marine unit here, and obviously the Terminators are pushed up aggressively as well. So then you've got the Space Marines where, and I know before I was teasing saying they've put a good player versus a bad player and all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the Space Marine player, there's this line of firepower right here. And you can see there's plenty of opportunities no matter what the Orc player does. Space Marine player can basically counterattack. If the Death Copters want to come in here, I mean, the Death Copters are pretty much the last threat on this side of the board. So once those have been dealt with, this entire side of the board is basically opened up because these units are obviously more focused to committing to the center. So for me, I feel like this game, even though the points are in the favor of the Orcs, I actually feel like this game is in the favor of the Space Marines, which is very interesting. Now, I was disparaging about the Take and Hold mission versus the Purge mission, and obviously we'll have to see what happens if the Orcs have a big go turn and they, if Gazgul can like go out here and start smashing the piss out of people, then great. But I think what we're seeing a little element of here is, and again, we'll see. I may be about to eat my words. I may be about to eat humble pie. This is my live reaction right now. What I think we're seeing up until this point is a little element of the return of the gun line. And I mentioned this after Simon and I did our battle report, where because of the fact that the boards are actually so much more open than people realize now, what ends up happening is if you set up a gun line and then basically push into the middle of the board and force your opponent to react to that, then you can push forward. And if you've got more firepower than they've got, then what you can kind of do is force them to like go at your shitty units that you've chosen to expose, and then you can try and set up very unfavorable trades, whereas they have to deal with your kind of like, hey, if you don't stop me from taking these objectives, I'm going to score loads of points. Okay, well, I'm going to come out and stop you. Okay, well, generally speaking, it takes more points to clear something than that unit is worth. It tends to take more than 65 points to kill 65 points of the guardsman. It tends to take like 100, 120, roughly speaking. And so what I'm worried is going to happen here is basically the Orks are going to continue to push out, and the Marines are basically going to continue to just basically blow them away. So I do think there's an element of a return of the gun line, but
I think even
we'll have to see what happens. That's my impression
more survivable because
where we are right now. But we'll obviously, as more information comes in, you guys know me, I keep an open mind. If more information comes in and I'm wrong on something, we'll highlight where I was wrong. If I was right on something, we'll highlight where I was right. And if new information comes up that completely changes that, then we'll have another little sort of commentary. But that's where I am at the end of turn 2. Anyway, let's bring the commentators back in for round 3.
Unit can just sit and farm command points for the entire game in a way that previously they probably would be removed, which obviously means they're not shooting something else. But I think there's little things like that all of a sudden.
The Orks are currently on 6 command points.
Which would be
the Blood Angels are in 2. The Orks haven't really been using their command points all that much.
Bomb squigs being activated from the tank busters. Rips a 1 on the first bomb squig. No, explodes ineffectually.
So this is exactly what we suspected, right? So this is a battle wagon rolling forward. The tank busters coming out. They're going to try and do some damage into Terminators. Tank busters are best into vehicles, but actually the damage output from them is 3 damage.
I have a big question.
They are decent AP.
If you've got a heavy weapon and you disembark from a vehicle, but you don't move any further than that, do you benefit from the heavy special rule? Because you have to disembark within 3 inches. Now, I think if the vehicle has already moved and then you get out, you probably would count as having moved, right? But if that vehicle has stayed still,
to put a command point into it, but now that
if that vehicle has stayed still and then you get out, I suspect you would benefit from the heavy rule.
Oh my god, we're so spoiled.
I guess we'll find out.
As well,
you don't think so?
Well.
No, so cats have fully moved.
Beautiful table on Armageddon.
I guess my question is: does it matter if the vehicle moves first
you can
or
see
not?
this, but
that's
the
my question.
battlefield is made up of the new terrain, which is
no heavy. They said you have to have already been on the board. Okay, that's good to know. I appreciate that was my question, chat, and I appreciate
this is the
you.
Painted up by the
I appreciate you answering it. Thank you.
Studio team. The armies in this board have also been painted up by the Warhammer TV studio team, and will also feature in the coming days in a Warhammer Plus battle report. You'll be able to watch that as well. So there's you can see them in action again, and we'll see if the outcome is slightly different lists, but still very cool.
I'm not sure if these tank busters are going to do all that much. I guess we'll find out, but
some damage into the Terminators.
Rapid fire now. What are the?
They have got rapid fire because of the upgrades.
Detachment,
but
is going to come.
They're only hit on 6s, right? 5s, -1 because Marines are in cover. 6s, so
had D3 shots each. If I remember correctly, on their rocket launchers with blasts, so they're going to get D3+1. They're going to get D3+2 now because rapid fire is going to kick in from the dead shiny shooters enhancement that was placed on them, the upgrade rather, that was placed on them in the list construction.
Hollow OG5, Amonglo, do you feel the immersion in 11? I don't particularly feel the immersion from this game.
Coming around there.
I think GW has done a bad job of creating immersion with this game. I think they've taken completely the wrong angle here, going for a commentated style, almost like competitive game. I think that's completely the wrong angle with this. If he wouldn't be able to, I think they should have made a much more cinematic style game and format of how they were covering it. I think that basically this feels very similar to how a 10th edition game feels in terms of immersion. But I don't think that necessarily means that 11th won't be immersive.
Yes, correct.
I just think the approach that GW has taken to this game has been unimmersive. But I think you could. I think you can play this exact same game in a completely different and cover it in a completely different format, and you can make it very immersive. That's what I'm trying to say.
Enormous base. So
that's what I'm trying to say.
Things like Gorkonauts that previously used to really struggle if there's like an enemy unit in a corner of a building, they'd be like, right, I've got to kind of charge like all the way around the building. All of a sudden now you can much more reliably move those big, scary walking pieces into close combat.
In the previous edition, if that Terminator on the far left of the Terminator squad was just moved off the terrain feature, that Mordian, even though it is like within 6 inches, would need to roll like a 10 in order to connect. Now you just measure the true distance between the 2 points, between the 2 bases, and if you roll that high, just move yourself within 2 inches of the unit.
As long as you can finish within 2, you still need to be able to do that. So if like you literally can't fit, it's still possible to screen out, but it's much harder to stop the really big monstrous units going forwards.
It felt a little rough because your opponent had so much agency in your charge phase by just some savvy positioning. And of course, we had
Swordsmith there, just clarifying what already was shown in the
that's going to be going
in the Warhammer community article. I thought they were showing new information there as well, but I don't think there was anything.
And close with the enemy.
Yeah, we saw Gazgol there a second ago, eyeing up the battlefield, deciding when he wants to do
No, Swordsmith, like, Eddie just said at the end, you do still have to like physically be able to make contact. So
it's a Mordian.
No, it's
very charge and the tank busters go. He might not.
It's very similar to how it was. It's just the goalposts have moved around a little bit, but it's very similar to how it was.
This is the tank busters.
It's a little better, but it's basically not that much different.
Plus blast plus rapid fire.
The end result is not that much different, I should say.
Popping off.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal amount of firepower from the tank buster squad, which you don't normally associate with volume of fire, but actually the combinations here have just really worked out for them.
3 to wound here on the tank busters gives him 4 saves.
Yeah, the strength
on 4+ invulnerable save would be a 3+ armor save previously, but the AP2 so much more significant.
It is, to be fair.
So we got one. It was still quite a good save there.
Good saves by Paul there.
You can never quite count them.
Yeah, so
right? So
you saw what I was.
Even if you hit.
So my prediction was correct. I didn't think the tank busters were going to do that much.
Have a reactive move after being shot.
Ooh.
So he's trying to try and scoot himself off the terrain and try and be line of sight block from this Mordian. So this is some of the cool stuff. He's towed onto the terrain, so he got to shoot. Now he's been shot. He's going to roll a reactive move after being shot and try and get this
gentleman
and this model tucked in.
So we have a gotcha.
True line of sight has gone.
Yeah. Gotcha in the first 11th edition game.
A little bait by Paul.
We've got a gotcha.
So yeah, some solid play there from both players. I think that's absolutely the moment to release those tank busters, but also you've got to remember your opponent's stratagems, what they've got in the sleeve.
Here's the roll. Command point has been spent. This is actually pretty critical. If he could save these Terminators while pulling the Orks.
That's a one. That's not what he wanted. That's not what he wanted.
I think it's all right.
Though,
if they're entrenched, he gets to re-roll this. Yes, you can't move more than 3 inches and be entrenched. And so he did, of course, move up his full distance and charge. So unfortunately,
okay, the gotcha backfired.
He might have been able to pull himself out.
The gotcha backfired.
Wagon though, that might still be true. So at the moment, because the Terminators have kind of towed a little bit onto that base, they will be.
The guy tried to gotcha, but it didn't work.
To move back
he didn't roll high enough. He needed to roll a 2 or more.
This turn for entrenched, and this is a new turn.
Oh wait,
he has not moved.
Oh no, he can do it.
3 inches instead.
He can. The gotcha. No, guys, don't worry. The gotcha did work.
It's really we're quite spoiled here. We have 2 judges. 2 high-level judges from our Warhammer Open team.
So Hollow, what is a gotcha?
He's always been a fan of Cerebite Sentinels.
So what is a gotcha? Just turn the commentators down for a second to explain it. A gotcha is what is considered to be a very poor sportsmanship maneuver. It's where you can see your opponent lining up for, like, they're lining something up. Like, hey, I'm going to bring this unit over here and this unit over here to shoot at this unit. And then you don't tell your opponent that you have an ability that could fuck them over. And the reason why, and you might think, well, isn't that just good play? The thing is, there's so many moving parts in 40k. There's so many abilities. There's so many stratagems. There's so many rules that
again, though,
it is not considered reasonable to expect your opponent to know everything about your army at any given time. So what you do is, if you're waiting for, if you can see someone is operating and they've clearly like forgotten you have this ability, if you just let them line everything up, and then the moment that they're finished, you go, okay, I'm just going to basically fuck you, and I'm going to play this ability that basically completely negates what you've just done. You've gone, gotcha! You know, do you know what I mean? When the honorable thing and the right thing, this is considered like, this is kind of considered within the community the way to play. It's not like, oh, we're playing with honor wanky shit. It's actually, if you don't, this is considered normal behavior. If you don't do this, it's actually considered very poor sportsmanship. People have been pulled up on it in tournaments. What you should do is go, mate, just to let you know, I can see you lining up to kill this unit. I have this ability that could fuck you over. And they go, thank you for reminding me. There you go. So if you don't tell someone that you could fuck them and clearly they don't know that you've got this ability, you might not have even told them you've got it, then it's called a gotcha. You're meant to basically, you don't have to give away all your battle plans, but you are meant to play in a sportsmanlike manner with a semi-open hand.
And he was able to end everybody under the overhang of the terrain feature. So this is actually what he was using to defend himself, was actually the terrain.
And Adrian didn't really want to kind of go the other way.
I've turned the commentators back up again.
So he's not wanting to. He decided not to charge because he didn't want to expose.
Well, that's exactly right. If you roll the dice and you don't like the number, even if you connect with that number, you can choose to not move, right?
Yeah.
That is huge. So Adrian said, well, I can see what you're trying to do, Paul. You want to tickle me under the chin and bring me into the jaws of your big guns.
Not very orky, though.
What if I just say? Well, it is cunning, but not.
I got you. It's basically how the entire game of Magic the Gathering works.
I'll go into the score sheet now.
I'll give him that.
What has happened? What has been scored here by Adrian?
So Adrian,
it looks like the Orcs are winning on points.
45 into 36. And he has achieved cleanse for 5 points, which is very well done. And he's also got that forward position, and he's held on to that. He thinks, I can score that later. I'm going to try and bank.
I feel like the Space Marines are starting to pull it back a little bit.
I think that is a renamed version of a tried and true secondary, but I just want to show you guys what that name is so you guys get an idea of it. But what Paul did by saving his Terminators, he actually stopped 6 points from Adrian, because if Adrian got onto that objective, he was holding it, but if he took that objective away and killed that unit, he would actually score 6 points.
So do you see how the gotcha,
one command point, both
the gotcha that happened down here,
from Adrian,
basically completely fucked the Orc player over.
The existence of that Terminator,
because the Orc player brought his Gorkanaut over here. He brought his battle wagon over here. He lined everything up to go after his Terminators, and the Space Marine player basically watched him do that. Waited for the Orc player to do it, or went, "Have you finished doing that? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to play his ability. Gotcha you." And now look, that Gorkanaut has been wasted for an entire turn. That battle wagon's been wasted for an entire turn. And so it's, you see how
he's walled them off to his advantage.
The Orc player would not have done either of those things if he knew his opponent had that ability.
Paul Murphy, of course, went to the bottom of turn 3. So
I think that's personally a very poor display in the intro game.
Come onto the table this
I'm not saying that's a problem with 11th edition. I'm saying that's a problem with this particular game. I don't think that should have happened.
Very reminiscent of the classic Ball Predator score. Excellent into big armies of infantry. And
a lot of free real estate there.
Yeah, those grots pushing you back a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So probably about to this distance. So there is a pocket here. If you wanted to get some shots on Gaz with the main gun, and then maybe put some of the secondary fire into the Gretchen, turn off the command point generation portion of Adrian's army, it would be a pretty good play here. Would also start pulling Adrian a lot of different directions.
Did a reactive move, so then he blocks all of the line of sight to this unit. And then the Orc player couldn't make the
game on that central objective.
Didn't make the charge for some reason.
Halfway through the game, it's been quite a fast game so far. I think it's worth saying. I think part of that is of the new game. A little bit more cautious. It has been a bit cautious from both players. We haven't really had the big mega combat melees. That I think are on the cards at some point.
We've had some rolling games from some of our participants happening.
I don't think GW is encouraging anything here. I just think that was
you get so much more work done turn 1.
I think that's just live TV, baby. Sometimes people are going to do stuff that maybe you wish they hadn't done.
It's just a positioning turn, and turn 5, most of you.
I was going to say, if someone had done that to me in a game, I would have considered that to be
disparity, or whether one player is going to be
extremely poor. And I wouldn't do it. I would never do that to someone in a game. And you can check every battle port I've done.
Not having to,
you can check every after support I've done.
Command phase with some of these pieces.
I would never do that.
Essentially,
very poor for
this mission. Storm Hostile, the mission card that we know from previous edition, that is part of the.
Let's get some internet drama going around that, guys. GW encouraging terrible sportsmanship drama from first 11th edition games. I got the thumbnails already planned out. I got the title planned out. We'll get the YouTube drama going.
A lot more proactive play and interactions earlier on in the game. But these guys are being a little cautious. I think maybe I don't want to say
nobody wants to lose the first one of the new edition live on TV.
They're gun shy, these guys, and I can't say they're wrong.
Yeah. No, but it's cool because we get to watch a great game. I think both of these guys are playing really, really solid Warhammer 40,000. At some point, though, somebody's going to have that big fight in the middle.
Yeah, and look, believe what you will, we haven't told these players how to play this game.
Are you sure about that?
Instructed them to engineer anything. These are just two awesome, wonderful.
You sure about that?
Playing a game.
Someone's going to have the big fight in the middle.
No instruction from us. We didn't even build these armies. We essentially deployed the table and said, play a game for us. wait till we say to start though. Roll the first dice till we get there. That's pretty much all that we have done in this game.
The Orc player basically had to charge down a Space Marine gun line and calculated that he wasn't going to be able to do that. So now he's playing a very cagey, bitty game.
To probably be able to get a shot off into those death copters.
Not particularly orky.
Also, so right
not
now
particularly
you'd be like,
immersive.
Oh no, Gaz's unit is exposed. But they're not, because they're all toe-in onto the terrain piece. And they did not shoot in the previous turn. That unit is hidden.
That is an absolutely ferociously devastating unit as well. That is Gazgul and...
Towing in for hidden?
Which is
just confirmed, you do not need to be wholly in terrain to get the hidden rule. Only in the terrain. Massive.
Not much that goes toe-to-toe.
Massive change there.
Primarch level stuff
doesn't love it.
Would just toe it in.
Have that fight against Gazgul and 6.
Toe it in, baby. Toe it in.
And in saying that, Paul's doing another astute move here. He realizes that Adrian the war is imminent. The advance and charge on the war turn is imminent. And
Devil Lord, holy hell, this is
Vanguard of Veterans. They've jumped over in this direction, and they're going to go in for another charge to kill another Death Copter unit. But the plan is actually to use them as a kind of a water break, a sea break, sorry, to stop Gaz from getting into the intercessors.
So it looks like what the Space Marines are basically doing is make its line is exactly what I said. So they're basically pushing in with limited units, forcing the Orcs to respond, and then gunning the Orcs down when they try and respond. The question is going to be, it's like a war of attrition.
A couple of Mega Knobs out and make his life easier going into the bottom of
Are the Orcs going to be attacking too piecemeal, or are the Space Marines going to run out of time to score their taken hold points?
It's to fight on death, take a couple down.
It's very tricky.
Literally go, intercessors are good now. I will prove it to you. I'm going to kill Gaz. I'm going to kill Nads. Gaz with bolt rifles.
I mean, good luck to him.
Yes.
I think incredible restraint on Adrian's part to not have called a war by turn 3, because
he's very disciplined.
No war turn 3?
And I've never got to turn 3.
The energy builds up inside you, doesn't it?
I have never got to turn 3 without declaring.
What? Crazy.
So very well done to Adrian.
What? Turn war, turn 1 war every time, win or lose.
We'll get this scoreboard up as well. I'd love to see what the secondaries are.
Turn 1 war.
Paul this turn. What's he trying to get done? So he has pulled a display of might himself, which is why he's pushing out a little bit more into the middle of the board and bring it down. He killed a war tracker too early. Now he's going to go for a Morkanaut. I think it's the only vehicle he can see, because I don't believe the battle wagon is touching the terrain feature. So a little bit harder to engage. I mean,
you could try and kill the battle wagon, but there's a lot of wounds there. The Terminators have got some attacks.
To be fair,
but yes, the battle wagon, the Gorkanauts.
The Gladiator Lancer,
I don't know if he's going to get it.
The Gladiator Lancer can see over to here because it only has to tow into the terrain. Think of how that's such a big difference that it having to be like wholly in the terrain. Allows it to use space, stay a bit further back. It allows it to be more defensive.
What I said, the Reaper at the top of the table, he's looking like he's lining that up.
And do you think? I think the Orcs are in trouble. I think the Orcs are in serious trouble.
He's positioning it near the top of the battlefield. It's going to get a bead on Gaz. Gaz, if he wanted to, could go and kill that Reaper, but then it takes him way out of the battlefield. It's absolute bait, right?
Absolute bait Reaper. It's really, really rough to turn around your best.
I think the Orcs are in huge trouble here.
Instead,
I think the ability for the Marines to essentially gun line is huge.
Effectively take him out of the game at that point.
I do think 11th edition gun lining.
To take that bait. So
I do think that
Reaper is
safe.
It's safe.
Exactly
or if it gets killed, then it's probably quite happy to be so. But yeah, there's Vanguard there.
Why do you think
we saw the Vanguard
the Reaper coming in is awful? No, I don't think the Reaper coming in is awful. I think the Reaper coming in is a very good tactical move. I think the Marines are playing very well. Awesome. I have to say I made some disparaging remarks about the Marines earlier. I think I'm going to be eating my words in that regard. Happy to do so.
Into the Terminators,
but
D3 shots each.
It just means that you
lost 1 Terminator.
I think there's. I think it's awful for the Orcs, not awful for a general statement.
To take down 2 or 3 of these so that they do not get their full volley of punching and shooting going into either the battle wagon or the Morkanaut, because I'm assuming that's the plan. The Redemptor.
I mean, the Orcs are looking outnumbered at this point.
The Morkanaut and the Terminus there.
You got to think the Orcs are looking outnumbered at this point. What's it going to look like once the Space Marines have finished their turn shooting? The Orcs are getting rolled, man.
They've wounded.
Orcs are getting very badly rolled.
That's Oath of Moment. That certainly is a kind of statement.
I'm not sure Gaz can do enough to bring this back now.
So if they can kill a couple of those Terminators, it makes it all the more likely that
he just put 6 wounds on the Terminators. 3 went down to the Overwatch.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, that's quite big.
That is huge. That might take away his ability to bring it down this turn.
It's quite big, but I think those Terminators are already not long for this world. I think I think they probably should have died last turn.
That they've been able to get from the.
To me, as an experienced player, I wouldn't be too bothered if those Terminators died.
Short range, 12 inches. They are
Just
all
as deadly.
getting an extra shot each, which is great.
It's not ideal, but basically a unit you were getting more mileage out of, you're not getting as much mileage out of.
There's
Like,
two different
okay,
options.
fine.
You can either go, what are the biggest units I've got, so I can have the more shots. So big units of boys would be a great candidate. The other way to think about it is, what is the best quality shooting I've got?
Is there anything dead on the Marine side? Land Speeder.
Flash kits.
And some
Because what it does,
Land Speeder and 4 Terminators.
Have rapid fire, it gives you an additional.
But look at the
flash
battle
kits
map,
are
guys.
stupendous.
Look at, let me turn this
to your
off for a second.
Yeah. But, tank busters
Look
are great
at the
choice.
battle
Tank
map
busters
up here.
kind of,
Look at the
inclination
red
factors with the
and look at how the
more
Orks are basically
knob level,
corralled into a corner.
characters.
Take into
Quite happy
account
to be in the
this
thick of
big
melee, so they're
block here is Gretchen.
Great choice to.
I'm not feeling. I'm not feeling it for the Orks. They might. The Orks might win on points, but I'm not feeling it in terms of the Orks.
So Soul Cannon just shot into
doing more, winning on
busters in absolute fury,
kills, if that makes
3 wins
sense.
to the squad. So 1.5 tank busters down.
2 wounds each on those tank busters as well makes a big difference.
Huge difference. Huge.
The last incarnation of tank busters before the new
wound.
kill team came out, 1 wound each. They're basically just Orks with rockets. These are effectively knobs with rockets. They are a very, very different proposition.
Is that the Bone Breaker ones?
And can look after themselves in combat as well is the big difference as well.
Do you still have 2 kinds of tank busters, or is it just the one kind of tank buster now, chat?
Significant shooting
because you had the kill team ones and the other ones.
Left of the battlefield there into the Gorkanaut at the medium right of the battlefield.
He missed with both, so he's re-rolling them both.
Oh my god!
Missed with both again.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, that's huge.
That was double ones into 1s and 2s. So actually,
that's huge.
Didn't even matter. It hit with.
So the Gladiator Lancer just missed 4 times with its main gun.
You just
nothing changed there.
There's nothing.
That's a dice game, baby.
Fate. That was absolute fate, right?
That's
there.
very interesting.
Mork intervening personally.
That might swing things.
Blocking those shots.
Because I was expecting Death Company, Gretchen, and Morkanaut to be dead, and I don't think that's going to happen now.
That was the it's D6 plus 3 re-rollable damage.
Really
through.
scary.
The Morkanaut will not go down this turn now.
That was absolutely the play there, the Lancer kind of taking its shot. That is what it's for, right? The Lancer, it sits at the back of the battlefield, it waits until...
But if I may say something, chat, that's why you never bring 1 of something.
Or a big thing like that. So, and then usually, that big formidable...
That's why
bringing on the back of it,
there's an old saying in the guard, bringing 1 is bringing none.
That absolutely did not happen.
You want to get the job done, you bring 3.
Plus 1 shots here, this would be the redemptive...
The reason you bring 3, first unit will die, second unit will miss, the third unit will get it done.
Halfway onto the terrain feature. In the edition we're playing right now, it wouldn't have been able to see the Morkanaut. It needed to have its hull completely on the terrain feature.
They've been playing along on their 25 minutes.
A full range of fire straight through. So that is a huge change there for quality of life for some of the larger hulled vehicles.
And particularly good if you've got things like an Astra Militarum tank army and you've got multiple tanks where you couldn't previously have fitted them onto the train.
Exactly right. And such little real estate upon which to get like a Rogel Dawn base.
So you'd have to sort of roll out of the cover and sort of stand forward and you'd get in your way.
So the towing into cover thing is massive.
Actually, the Gorkanaut.
The towing, to give you an idea of how massive the towing into cover change is, guys, I might completely reassess my initial thoughts on 11th and say it has gone from a melee dominant edition to a shooting dominant edition. We might be in the gunline edition now. That's how big a difference it makes. Like, I kid you not.
Given up.
That might be.
He just shot the macroplasma into the Gorkanaut and he's put all
how big a difference. Towing in cover combined with boards that are this open
has just diverted.
We could be in a gunline edition.
Into the
and I'll be happy to make a video about that, and you'll all be able to lambast me and take the piss out of me saying it was a melee edition. But to me, it's not about pushing a narrative. To me, it's not about sticking to my guns even though I know I'm wrong. I'm not going to die on that hill unless the Emperor orders me to do so. For me, it's about communicating accurate information communicating an accurate assessment based on the information we have at the time.
Girders and things like that. They are still obscuring in the sense that like you can't see all the way through them, but because they are effectively like see-through once you've moved into them, if you just put a little bit of your base into them, you can effectively shoot through the entire piece of terrain.
So what I think the Marine Army is struggling with here is
to kind of
a lack of ignores cover.
Your field of vision and get more targets is quite high.
I think this Marine army could be dominating on shooting a lot more effectively if they had Ignores cover.
And plenty of rerolls here from Cerebi Sentinels. Now, even though Oath is now on a target he doesn't think he can kill.
Is there a
reroll once to hit and once
do Imperial Fists ignore cover still in
to my point, I think that's why it deserves
in the game
3 detachment point.
Yeah, there's one of the things that will happen before the new edition comes out is there will be a list released of.
Or is there another Imperial Space Marine attachment that allows you to do it?
Attachments are worth. Some of them that are very
because that could, as crazy as it sounds, that could become a very, very important detachment.
Yep. There will be a whole bunch of other ones that are either from your codex.
Is there any Space Marine detachment that? Because Imperial Fist used to get something like that.
Will be usually 2.
But I'm thinking of 8th edition, by the way.
Which means that you can
Talk out and gives Ignores cover.
A bunch of those newer detachments that are on there.
Salamanders, maybe.
Which is exactly what we've seen in the Orc Force here. They've got the Dread Mob, which boosts some of like the Gorkanaut. Morkanaut, sorry, and the Dakarig.
Talk out does Anvil, Siege Force gives heavy to everything. Okay.
Fire and some extra strategy.
That's kind of like pseudo Ignores cover, I guess. If everything's getting +1 to hit,
there we go.
it balances out the -1 to hit. So
on screen, the
yeah, it kind of does.
We are now dialing up fire from just Reaper into the Gretchen.
The Reaper into the Gretchen.
Bye, Gretchen. See you, boys.
This Gretchen not really doing anything, to be fair. The Orc player gets no points for holding his home objective.
I think Paul is lamenting having to shoot grots, is what's actually
happening. It's like, I mean, I'd still put the main gun into the Mega Knobs if it was me.
Yeah, I would as well.
Wounds. The chance to kill 1 Mega Knob is pretty good.
The Gretchen aren't doing anything. I think this is a very poor play by the Blood Angel player. By the way, I just want to say I like at this point how I'm able to commentate on the game rather than commentate on the random rules being released by GW. Not that I don't want that extra information, but
this is basically your.
I'm here to see the game.
Space Marine tank.
I love it.
It looks awesome. You've got that
just turning them down for a second.
You've also got stubber. You've got.
I think that I'm much right. I think those Gretchen aren't really doing anything because the Orc player doesn't get any points for holding his home terrain piece. So I do think this is a bit of a waste of time for the Space Marine player, but whatever.
But I don't think it's going to save them.
I don't think it matters.
Toughness 2.
Now, if this was the other way around and the Space Marines were playing Purge the Foe, then I think this would be a good idea.
Exactly to your point. And Adrian's like, would be real cool if these were all ones, mate. And he's like, no. And they ask.
The only reason why this might be important is it does mean that the Space Marine player,
the Orc army in this particular
if the Orc player doesn't put something on that objective now, the Space Marine player turn 4 can take,
at the start of the game.
So it does draw the Orcs over that way.
It usually tells you what you get your points for.
You say that, Eddie. But every time I say that to myself, oh, my home doesn't matter, you can clear it, I immediately draw Defense Stronghold. Every time. Every time, mate. But yeah, exactly right. In this scenario for Purge the Foe and the way this mission's lined up against each other, you're right. Doesn't generate any score for holding his home. Neither does Paul, in fact. All his points are from the middle of the table. And as you can see, Paul is staying in touch. There's only 4 points difference between these two armies right now. And I think Paul, in my opinion, is looking good to take the lead pretty soon.
Yeah, I think at the end,
I think both these players have played a very good cagey.
I think
we've seen some excellent play from Paul there with the Terminators pulling the back.
I think the Space Marines should take the lead at the end of this, depending on what secondaries they've got.
I think neither of these players have really made a mistake at the moment. They've been kind of baiting and tempting their opponents into moves and charges. Nobody's really taken that bait yet.
That's what I said, right?
It's almost like we picked this particular scenario because we know that it usually ends in a big, cool fight in the middle. Yes. That is coming. Those Vanguard veterans will have to do something about Gazgul or vice versa. And we've got that big squad of intercessors who will need to contribute in some meaningful way into the battle.
Exactly right. If it all else fails, he's going to park those on the expansion objective, which to him is this one, and just sit there racking up all the points while doing everything he can to kill anything that tries from the Orc army to touch the central objective.
That's exactly what I said.
Leaving
gunlining
weapon lieutenant here and his unit of eradicators to be the things he actually steps up on turn 4. So they're going to have the Orcs crash into them in the 5th turn, clears them with the intercessors, and then he throws another ancillary piece.
Send me to the black ships.
Multiple layers of.
Send me to the black ships. Predicted it.
Him, not where he doesn't want him.
To be fair, I caught it like 2 turns ago.
You always want to think especially on those larger terrain features where your opponent can, usually get something on the corner, some little pieces of objective control. I mean, just for example, this combat weapon lieutenant has generated so much value for Paul. Essentially, he was deployed there turn 1, hasn't moved, and has been holding or contesting that middle objective for the entire game. And being quite hard to interact with the lone operative ability, and then being not visible very well in the terrain feature, you can really draw your opponent into awkward situations to try and solve that.
I hate that.
So lone operative.
Personally, I fucking hate that.
40,000. Lots of units.
Some people love lone op.
Lone operative.
I think it is one of the most frustrating rules in the game, but that's just me.
Useful thing where like 12 inches still means you have to kind of get very close to engage with them. Because of the fact that you can now move into terrain pieces and effectively...
The combi weapon lieutenant was amazing through all of 10th, and he's going to be amazing at 11th still.
Range becomes very useful. So I wouldn't rule out the usefulness of lone operative in your forces. We're seeing that used to...
Mordian, you'd give the Emperor like 2 seconds extra life. That's pretty good.
Most armies have got access to something
I'll take that.
The Ork army, you've got things like Snickrock's got it.
Yeah, some people don't mind lone op
as well.
Yeah.
So
do you know what I mean? Some people don't mind it.
Something akin to that where they can find.
I'm not saying it's a bad rule to clarify my position. I'm saying personally I hate it, but I don't lambast anyone for taking it. I don't think anything less of anyone who takes it. I just personally don't like it.
Better on the Vanguard launcher still.
But you know, it's just personal preference.
So I think
exactly what you were saying.
Apologies. He has the.
I
thought he had the Vanguard launcher still to go, but it turns out he did. He only got 2 shots and unfortunately both missed.
The Venga launcher's such a bad name. Venga boys!
His positioning on the table has been great, but then the units have not done great for him. Oh, did we just see heroic intervention? It's a pile-in. Oh, sorry. Paul has charged that one Terminator, sorry, we missed the movement, through the wall into the unit here. And they are just, of course, you pile in simultaneously now, which is why the Orks were going in before the Terminator attack, because previously that wouldn't have been the case.
Yeah, so that's one of the big, lots of little changes in the combat phase, and I think it will take a little while for people to get completely used to those. But the big one we're seeing there is...
Venga, I love it!
Units have charged in, and any kind of counter charges have happened, then all of the active players' units consolidate in, so push 3 inches forward, and there's some rules about exactly how that works.
That's crazy. That guy gets the charge in there.
And then all of the opponent's units do the same. So it's not a kind of like activate a unit.
So even if you don't charge it, it can pile in.
Together. Well, there tends
if it was
to
in 3 inches.
A, it means that the turn tends to go a little bit faster, and then B, it also means that you tend not to forget about it. So I don't know if, how you are in your games.
Like that.
It's one of the things I always forget to do before I kind of activate, especially if it's like a lone character or something already in combat range, and then just roll the dice.
So no Terminator is dead by the Terminator, unfortunately, but they did do one back. So Terminator on 2 wounds remaining now. Fortunately for Paul, the commando knob with the power claw was in that unit and did not hit, which Paul was like, "Thank you, that was what we needed."
Yeah, I think the big thing there is that a single Terminator is unlikely to be able to remove whole Ork units by himself.
Yeah, 3 attacks.
Yeah, three. I mean, Terminators they have the power fist is good into everything, but it's not great into anything.
That's true. That's a great way of saying it. He looks like he has not charged because of the heroic intervention threat. I think he stated he was not going to charge with the Vanguard veterans anymore because the way things have changed here. If he was to charge into this position and just stay further away, staying outside 6 inches, well, usually you would think you were safe. But let's bring up heroic intervention on the screen and show people how it has changed, because there is 2 modes now for heroic intervention, which really changes a lot of how you work around it.
I hate this. The Blood Angel player isn't charging.
Should have that up for you guys now. What's the tail thing, Eddie?
Yeah, so heroic intervention, the first version you can do is very similar to where the heroic intervention works at the moment, which is that if something has charged a unit near you, you can charge back into
Leap to defend.
Yeah, you can kind of leap into the fight and go and fight it, much like you do today. There is another version which costs an extra command point. So in most instances, it costs 2 command points. Although if you've got something like a Space Marine Captain that lets you do 1 for 1 less, it will cost you 1 command point.
Heroic is way too strong.
The way that this works is that you can make a
so do we still think it's not a melee edition Mordian? Yeah, of course, bro.
Select any
Dude, think about it.
Within 6.
Imagine if the Space Marine player had spent those points on a shooting unit instead. How much more value would he have?
Called the wire. I was about to blow my head off. Apologies.
How much more value would he have got out of the equivalent points if those weren't Vanguard vets and a chaplain?
Some points on the board there for Paul.
Yeah, no, dude, this convinces me more it's a shooting edition.
But this is now going into the Ork turn.
Ork turn 4. And look at the primary score. This was a big deal. So Adrian was able to get a huge 14. And in response to that, Paul is now Paul's been really consistent and palatable in his double eights, but he's been able to equalize the scores here.
I think the Orc player has not been aggressive enough, but I don't think if he had been more aggressive, it would have helped him. I think he would have just been gunned down quicker.
The game holds true for the next edition. Of course, I
think if you're going to take an aggressive army, you have to go full send
going first,
and either win big or lose big.
You are behind when going into turn 4, you're in trouble and you need to really do some crazy things. I'm interested to see if that statement holds true into the new edition, because right now that would be a statement.
Closing the poll at the end of round 3.
Where we are now. If you are the player going first and you're behind on points at the start of turn 4.
Closing the poll at the end of round 3, we had 375 votes. 52% of you think the game is good. 27% of you think the game is bad. 13% of you think the game is terrible. And 8% of you think the game is great. So roughly 60% think the game, think positively about the game. 40% of you think negatively about the game, which is more people positive than negative, but it's not exactly a ringing endorsement. We'll take another poll at the. We'll take another look at the end of the game and see what people think. So this is what people think at the midpoint, and we'll do a poll at the end point.
War going off, so that gives him a bunch of bonuses.
So the war's going off, boys.
That lots of those units can run and charge. That makes the Orc units surprisingly fast. So Paul has done a very good job of kind of pushing those units forward. You've got the Vanguard veterans.
So we could be. So we're seeing a turn 4 go turn from the Orcs. Now this could swing it.
I would be scared of.
This could swing it quite significantly. So
coming out there.
Let's see if the Orc go turn could be effective enough.
That is a scary unit.
It's the War as well. He gets +4 attacks on the War. He's going to go to 10 attacks, and he has Cleave now as well. Let's bring Cleave up on the screen for you guys, because this is a brand new mechanic as well. It's not a mechanic you'll be unfamiliar with. It's brand new in its application to the game.
Yeah, so
go for it.
Yeah, so this is Cleave. When you have a Cleave attack, it was
Christopher Carter. You need an average answer for the poll.
How many?
We'll do that for the.
This is very similar to the way that Blast
we'll do that for the end of game poll. We'll do good, meh, and bad.
Warboss with his huge chopper has Cleave 1, which means that for every 5 enemies,
because there weren't that many people that thought the game was great.
So if he's going,
so we don't really need that result.
Veterans,
we can simplify it a bit.
Those are good quality attacks. They are, I think, strength 7 or 8, 2 damage each with a point of AP on there as well. So each one that goes through can remove a Vanguard veteran. If he goes and fights into that big unit of intercessors, he gets 2 extra attacks. And if you imagine that the war is happening as well, you start with, I think, your base attacks are 6, I think, plus your that's the big loss.
Also, thank you to everyone who voted in that poll, by the way. By the way, just a quick moment here. We'll catch up with a couple of super chats just quickly.
Plus your extra so 6 attacks normally, Cleave 1, and your...
Parko, thank you for the super chat, mate. Long time to speak, mate. Being in a fucking coal mine for a month. Want to know if my 18 Bulgrim will waste lol. Congrats on getting married, mate. That's awesome. I'm about to be on baby number 3. Hey! Congrats to you too, bro. Amazing. 18 Bulgrims is probably going to be very good for Gad, because you need to have something that can just hold the enemy up so your guns just keep on smashing. Fox Knight, I think Precision should override load up. I agree, mate. Thank you for super chat.
The reason that you might put one in your list is not necessarily to fight into space.
So we could see a bit of a smasher turn from the Orcs, and then it's going to come down to Space Marine clapback.
Fighting other Orcs. Yes. If you're fighting stuff like Tyranids, there's loads of very juicy things that you might want to chop through.
Agreed.
One of the armies that, when we were going through the various different factions, certainly initially access to a lot of Cleave was World Eaters.
Oh, yeah. If it was me,
we did.
You were able to kind of give out Cleave to multiple characters in your army.
If it was me, I think I would have gone with the Vanguard Veterans of the charge.
And those were,
and I'll tell you why.
Quality attacks, right? They were like multiple.
Because you're now going to lose the Vanguard Veterans, and they've not done anything. Whereas before, you could have fought with the Vanguard Veterans and killed those Death Copters. And then, yeah, the Orcs would then have killed the Vanguard, but
reach deep enough.
He's about 24 for the decoration.
Now you're going to lose the Vanguard, and you haven't taken the Death Copters out. And yeah, you might have given the Orcs some positional benefits and everything, but
I don't know if it evokes for you what it evokes for me.
I think now, by not taking those Death Copters out, there's a real risk the Gladiator Reaper's going to go down.
Yeah,
and essentially that means that the Orc player can now go after the Reaper and the Vanguard Veterans.
From days
and push your next expansion, I should say.
And,
so yeah,
now,
I think not. I think the guy bottled it, and I think that was a big mistake.
It's the perfect profile for going into those chassis. Up to 14 shots at strength 7 AP 2 damage, and then all the rockets, which you could use to go into the Gladiator Reaper.
Orcs would be close, that's true, but you could play around that by having the
shooting from it. Probably, I think
having your backline guys a little bit further back
into the unit that you think is going to be significant.
I agree as well. I was waiting to see with a more.
I think it could be a game-losing decision. Personally,
rockets, maybe gets a little bit.
I think he's going full send with this army.
But I think we'll see. This is the Orc. The Orcs go full send now.
This is the Orc army that I wanted to see. Right. This is you take the whole army. You've got like loads of great combat units. You push them all forward. You try and get all those units in. This is the war turn, so those units are advancing and charging. Lots of different units.
Extra attacks.
Yeah, loads of bonuses because it's the war. You've also got invulnerable saves, so they're more durable, so you can be a little bit.
Because I just think if you're the space, either that or the space would look
kind of exposed.
Either that or the space would play shouldn't have pushed his Vanguard veterans forward.
Yeah, if the plan is that he wants to.
If you weren't going to charge, these guys shouldn't be here. They should be further back.
That would be a reason why he would hold the.
However you slice it. This mistake with the Vanguard veterans could cost the Space Marine player the game.
In this particular scenario, you are...
And again, exposing these Eradicators for very little as well, I think that's a huge mistake.
Orc armies, in my experience, is that your opening few turns are very strong.
He basically, the Space Marine player pushed forward
to kind of maintain
and then didn't go for it.
So many points
and so not only, so he exposed a bunch of units for no payoff.
Encourages you to kind of go, maybe hold back, maybe just hold them off, maybe have that big combat.
I think it was a
turn 2. And then
pushing and then not going is a huge mistake.
Yeah. Now this is a change for leading units now, because we have a unit of Orc boys here that has both the big boss and the banner knob attached to them, which previously you wouldn't have been able to do, would you?
Yeah. So Orcs previously had a special rule where you could have 2 leaders, but you had to have a unit that was 20 strong in order to do it.
Yeah.
The way that attaching characters into units works now is if a unit doesn't have anything attached, you can put a leader into it, and you can also put a support unit into it. So this is an example of the banner knob. The banner knob has the support rule. That means that it can join a unit even if a leader unit has already been attached. So you can have 1 support unit and 1 leader unit per army, per unit, sorry. He's got some great little abilities. He's got the war.
The Orcs are getting a bit of a surge now, which is good to see.
Which is exactly.
But I think the Orcs, were waiting for the Space Marine player to make a mistake to capitalize on it. I think the Space Marine player gave this opportunity wouldn't be happening. The Space Marine players, the Orc players, been waiting for 4 turns for this. If the Space Marine player hadn't given him the opportunity, I don't think we would have seen a war turn 4. I think we could have seen a war turn 5 for the sake of it.
Breakpoint in the game as it exists right now, and I got to tell you, if what happens in the game is and the directions we go with unit profiles is what I expect, which is a lot more lower strength and AP weaponry. That toughness boost is massive.
Yeah, some lovely close-up shots of that unit there. You can see there's a
little bit of found footage.
Yes, it's so cool.
One thing that
we hit turbulence.
Is if you look at the banner that the banner knob is carrying there, all of the iconography on that is either sculpted on or part of the transfer sheet that you get in the Armageddon.
Fuck it out, just keep it steady. Fuck's sake, man, just keep it steady.
Looking exactly like that. They look that good. You got a few options in there as well if you don't want to have a god.
They need the War Games Live guy to be doing this with his cameras on the stuff as well. So it's because they're holding it by hand. They need to be having the
green skull,
the rails,
green skin wave. I was about to say Death Skull. This is the Goss baby. Look at the wave of green skins here.
Yeah, I think that one mistake by the Space Marine players completely flipped it. I was not expecting the Space Marine player to go and not go
here to ignore cover.
I think that's the huge. I think that's a huge,
which is called
huge mistake, game-losing mistake there.
This one's called long uncontrolled bursts,
and I think it came from overconfidence. I think he thought the game was going in his direction, and then he basically fell for the trap.
That's right at the bottom of your battlefield.
Massively so.
Redempted Dreadnought. That is one of those units that Orcs tend to struggle with.
I think because I tell you what's going to happen, right?
High toughness. It's got decent armor saves.
Like just fuck off these guys for a second. So I think what's going to happen, I'll use the map up here, is I think these Orcs can now, if they get a long enough charge, go for the Marines and then pile into the Intercessors and just break this entire game wide open.
And he has sustained.
Break the entire game wide open. Yeah.
Like another quarter shot.
I think literally the Vanguard veterans being here is the worst possible outcome.
Might be terrifying.
And I think this is another great example of using the war exactly when you need it, and you go, actually, this unit is perfect at killing stuff right now. Do not write the Redemptor out just yet. Redemptors are really durable. They have a special rule, which means that all the damage that comes in is -1 damage. That is great against damage 3 weapons. So
exactly, Deathman Jones, exactly, man.
Through past the save,
the Vanguard vets just shouldn't have gone for that charge. The Vanguard vets should have jumped back. The Vanguard, so
10 wounds at AP3 and of course ignores cover, meaning it doesn't take the negative.
I'm not going to worry about too much what's happening on this flank. It's fine.
This is a 2-up save unit with toughness 10.
The Vanguard vets are not an attack unit. They're a counter-attack unit in this game for the Marines, because the Marine player's gunlining, right? So what you do is basically the Orc player's got to come at you to score a lot of points. So basically, what the Marine player wants to do is force the Orcs to come towards him, gun them down. Then when the Orcs come in and start charging stuff, the Vanguard vets jump in and push them back. That's what we saw with the Deathcopters. See, remember, the first wave of Deathcopters came in, killed the land speeder. What did the Vanguard veterans do? They counterattacked. They're a counterattack unit, not an attack unit. They haven't got the durability to. That's how I would use them anyway. Not all the time. In this list, in this scenario, that's how I would use them.
Profile up, that would be great. He's better into light and medium infantry because he's got a cleaver profile. He's got strength 7, AP 1. So he's decent into everything, but he's very good into.
Yeah, I think the Orcs. I think that's. I think infantry. That turn 3 from the Marines.
He's got 2
with the not from the not necessarily from the output, but from the positioning of the Marine units has swung this hugely.
The Dreadnought's not quite out of it yet.
The Marines will need a massive clapback, and I'm not sure they'll have it. They might do though.
I think it's very.
But what was almost certainly going to be a Marine victory is now very uncertain.
Especially on that Gladiator.
I'm not saying the Orcs have definitely got it, but I think it's definitely swung back in a huge way.
Of course, you can't see a lot of high quality infantry. I mean, if the Reaper was down in where the Redemptor is, you'd absolutely overwatch those boys or the tank busters. But he didn't press Overwatch, and that means to me he's got a budget for his command points already in mind. 2 command points for an interrupt, and 1 to fight on death is what I believe he's aiming for here.
Yeah, the Marines needed a go turn and had the brakes on. Exactly. They bottled it. They just fucking bottled it.
Yes, I know the interrupt might not.
And they shouldn't have. And I don't think the Marines should have had a go turn. They went for a go turn, then bottled it. They made the 2 critical mistakes, and that's all the Orc player needed. Remember, Orcs in the lore might be brutal, but in real life, good Orc players are cunning.
Yeah, might be infantry. But those Vanguard veterans.
Yeah, I agree. Learn train play. Orcs will dominate the center and have a 5% double save. Exactly. So now you're in a really bad situation where you've got to try. You have an absolutely vital clapback turn.
In addition.
And you've got to do it under the most difficult circumstances where you're fighting against Orcs who've got -1 to hit 5 up in them. It's a very tough situation for the Marine player now. And it's a situation that did not need to exist. He's created it.
Dakarig, I think, is just lining up a shot into something.
1 AP2 wound from the rockets. Did take the damage, 3 damage done. Talking about the Gatling gun. So he said, I'm going to shoot the Reaper because I don't want to shoot the Vanguard veterans and trigger the reactive move or kill them so Gadskull doesn't get the charge.
So I think he is out of range of the Intercessors, which I think we all agreed is the juiciest target. So he's just trying to strip some wounds off the Gladiator Reaper. This is interesting because both the Dakarig and the Reaper aren't really ideally suited for killing each other.
Yeah.
But it's just
that's a good point. Bit of a volume of fire tank duel.
He's taken 3 AP2 saves for 2 damage. So he's taken 6 on the Reaper. Holy, he almost killed the Reaper. It takes the Reaper down to 3 wounds remaining.
It's got rockets, so it's not bad at killing vehicles. I think in a shootout, the Dakarig probably has.
I think what you've just seen there is a great example of why AP -1 weapons matter again. AP -1 and AP -2,
sort of medium infantry,
high to medium volume, is the firepower you want to be focusing on this edition. You no longer want low volume because of -1 to hit from terrain, and you don't need as much AP anymore to punch through.
We got those rockets.
And that's a really, really good example of
1 AP2,
AP1 and AP2
the Reaper
weapons
did bring it down. So the Reaper has gone down.
Told you.
I thought it was safe as a bank up there, but I was wrong.
I mean, there's a lot of rockets.
Yeah, this is
a lot of rockets. Counted out the rockets.
Why did that Reaper die? Because the Deathcopters were alive. If the Deathcopters had been killed by the Vanguard veterans, that Reaper would have lived. If that Reaper lives, he gets massive points for taking the opponent's home objective. Not going with those Vanguard veterans was a bigger mistake. Was a big mistake. They shouldn't have been there at all. But if you're going to go for the charge and then bottle it, you just compound the mistake you've made.
Yeah, and he's already lost one as well, because one of Deathcopters is already dead.
And the rockets on the tank busters as well, we saw how much firepower. Dude. So I mean, you kind of look at the Ork army and you're like, oh, it's only Orks. The shooting's not too bad. But there's so much 3 damage. Anybody else shooting those guns, this would be the best shooting army in the whole game. Right, like each one of those is
spamming flat damage 3 weapons with good ballistic skill.
Spent here by
I wonder if there was an army that could achieve that.
On his Morkanaut, to have full hit rolls on his Morkanaut, and he's going to be super hazardous. And of course, hazardous has changed now, and a lot of what you thought of as do I lose wounds getting out of transports that are destroyed? That is now changed into hazardous as well. And now hazardous isn't just a removed model when you fail. It is you take a single mortal wound on a 1 or a 2 for any units when you disembark. Also, you will take 3 mortal wounds. You just lose 3 wounds on vehicles, monsters, and characters.
Yeah, so hazardous is less likely to outright kill you, but more likely to do wounds.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, when you something like
Hellhounds and Lehman Russes, boys. Hellhounds and Lehman Russes.
Sometimes you take almost
Rogal Dawns as well,
because you're taking some wounds on a 1s and 2s.
Do you know what's a big question? Does the twin battle cannon come into play now for the Rogal Dawn? 4 rolls to wound is very nice.
He'd clock it, and it's still alive.
I think the oppressor cannon will still be better.
5s to hit, 4 rolls to hit because he did push it for the dreadnought.
I think the oppressor cannon is still better, but I think the twin battle cannon could have played.
Ork army is looking phenomenal, isn't it? Now that they're all kind of out and across the battlefield, this is a very cool looking game of Warhammer 40,000.
And now the big one is D6 plus 3.
Riptide's looking very good for Tal.
Shots.
Very, very good.
I love that Paul has made it look like
heavy bolter spam. I think depends how you play it. If you're going to do the gun lining tactic that we've talked about, I think heavy bolters are the way to go. I think if you're going to be pushing more aggressively, multi-melters. But I think heavy bolters are now back in the conversation rather than being out in the cold.
In Paul's army that are very good at killing big monsters. One of them. You got 3 actually. You got the ballistas as well. You've got the Lancer at the back. You've got the ballistas dreadnought. But up close, actually, arguably more dangerous than any of those, if you can get it in, is the Brutalis dreadnought, because you've got the twin multi-melters. You've got the Palpits as well.
So because he pushed it, the 3 is also hazardous, and the Morkanaut just took 9 mortal wounds.
That's an Ork ability, by the way.
He even stated, "I'm going to not shoot the big shooters." Because all he could shoot it into was the toughness 6 eradicators, which he wouldn't do damage to. And they're also hazardous. So he did no damage into the eradicators with it, and probably 50-50 for 3 mortal wounds on himself.
Quick question: can you do that?
I think, in fairness, he's probably due a little bit of bad luck. I think we've had some very
quick question. If you've declared you're going to shoot the guns against the eradicators, and then you fuck yourself with the first guns going into a different target, can you then decide not to shoot the big shooters? I feel like once you've declared your shooting, you have to follow through. But this is the second time I've seen something like this happen in this game. So I wonder if that has changed. I wonder if you can change your mind partway through. Because the Space Marine player did it earlier as well. Or if it's just both players being a bit more gentlemanly.
We are now seeing charges. We're into the charge phase.
We're going to see a cascading amount of charges. You might even see a little bit of an overrun pile in here, because I assume the first thing to activate of this will be the Mechanops. And they almost certainly bring down the entire unit. But then we might see the boys able to do that little surge pile in and make it into the Eradicators. We'd love to be able to show that off for you all. And here come the Meganops.
Because I'm sure I saw the Marine player do something. Just players being nice.
Yeah, Meganop's got an 8.
Could be a change with 11s. Keep an eye on it, I'd say. When the 4 rules come out, keep an eye on it. It might just be players. This is exactly what I was saying.
He's kind of holding back, but I think he's going for a different overrun on the Meganobs.
Yes, he could overrun on the Meganobs into the Intercessors.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
What you do is you don't get hit by the Vanguard.
Yeah.
This game is hugely. This game is
going to be the boys potentially.
The Vanguard. That mistake with the Vanguard veterans has completely thrown this game for the Marines.
Exactly right. You have to hope the boys
completely,
and that's unlikely.
No, I think it would be, apart from I think the Warboss is in that fight as well.
True. So
Warboss
would carry
this. The Warboss is currently swinging 11 attacks because you've got 1 for cleave, 6 basic, 4 for the war.
Yeah.
Hitting, and he's killing one with everyone that goes through.
Exactly right.
So I think that probably is the play.
You're right. That war boss does change.
I think that these guys could overrun into here. I think these guys could overrun into here. Space Marines done. I think this is done now.
That's also going to be quite a key fight. The Redemptor won't be fighting his way out of that combat very soon, but between shooting and fighting over a turn or two, might just tilt that and win that eventually.
Yeah. The challenge that Redemptor's going to have is that the one weapon that he does have, which is shooting, is a blast weapon.
Yes.
So he's not going to be able to shoot his way out of combat. If the other option for Redemptors is that you can take an onslaught Gatling cannon, usually people go for the plasma because the raw damage output is better. But if you find yourself in combat, sometimes you wish you had the onslaught Gatling cannon because you can clear something like an Orc unit very well. That's fighting it with you in combat. So,
MG, can you do this more often? Live back's usually boring, but the commentator improves it a lot. I've actually had feedback from other people saying I should do that as well when I covered like some of the World Championship stuff as well. So
in the middle
I'm happy to do more of this kind of stuff.
Get a lot more than the 5 it rolls.
If people want it, if people just make me aware of what battle reports are coming up, I'll try and cover them. Because sometimes I think I just missed them.
I think what they decided. Yeah.
But even so, in the current edition, it'll probably be even.
By the way, I don't think this game is scripted. By the way, if this game was scripted, the Space Marines would win, and I don't think the Space Marines are going to win.
So you could tilt back to your base, and then you'd have to close there. So yeah, you're looking at like once you pay the 2 for the pivot, all of a sudden it blows out
like 11s and things.
Yeah, correct.
So this could be a very, very interesting combat.
Here come the pile-ins, the simultaneous pile-ins. He's piled in the boys right now.
Yeah, this is sewn up. This is so gigafucked. The Marines are absolute gigafucked. That Vanguard veteran move and that Eradicator move completely fucked the Marine player.
Turn, and then all of a sudden you find yourself with nothing left to fight. So usually that's because an enemy unit has been killed by another unit. You can make another pile-in effectively. And if you catch another unit, which is easier than you might think because the engagement range is 2, you can fight again.
Yeah,
so,
huge.
So you don't fight twice if you haven't fought.
You can fight if you haven't fought.
I think that
catch something and still
literally the Marine player
means if you're
just needed to play it very methodically, and they just got. So we've all been there.
You can usually get away with.
Let me be clear. We've all been there.
Distance between the screen.
You think the game's going your way. You get overexcited. You overextend yourself.
Between the units.
It's just stated because
and then it just fucking swings back. We've all been there. I'm not even. I'm not actually lambasting the Space Marine player at all. I think he was playing very, very well. And if you lose a game because you got overexcited,
it's an interesting choice. Would you?
That's fine. I'd rather lose a game because I was excited than lose a game because I was bored shitless. Or it was a foregone conclusion. I'd rather lose a game on a mistake that I made than lose a game because I turned up and it was a bad matchup.
Going first with his 6
like, think about it. It's not actually a problem that the Marines might lose on a mistake. That's the way games should happen. You should lose because you made a mistake, not just because you built, not just because of rock, paper, scissors.
Before they can overrun fight.
Or do you fight
into Gazgul for the extra value? I think you fight into the boys and try and maintain your.
Do you get the choice where you fight as they go down?
You fight on death. Yeah, I don't believe you have to fight into. It has to be an eligible unit in engagement range, of course. So some of them would have to fight into the Meganobs.
And hey, it could swing if the Marines manage to
a minimum of 2.
If the Marines manage to hold on,
I think this one wouldn't have a choice. This one has to fight into the boys. I think everything else is.
I think the big one is if a single Vanguard veteran, if a single Vanguard vet lives,
another change actually,
or the chaplain lives.
Because your engagement range is more generous in terms of your targets than it used to be. So what you'll tend to find is that when you get into a big protracted melee, at the moment, you're sort of stuck fighting the person you're touching. Whereas new edition, you get to fight more stuff.
We just saw the
Marine player wants the last Vanguard vet to fall to be the one that's in range with.
So 3.
If one Vanguard vet lives or the character lives, they want to be in range of Gazgul. That's what they want to do.
He has put it all onto the chaplain in that sequence, and all those 4+ paid out on the Rosarius. And now Gazgul, does he finish the unit? So the Vanguard veterans are down, all of them, but because he was able to do the order of operations to his advantage, all the small rolls triggered and killed the 5 Vanguard veterans, and then everything else was 4+ to be bounced from the Rosarius.
Yeah.
So right now in the game,
this save rolling is fucking with my head, boys.
Yeah. Now that chaplain is alive because of the new fast style.
This head rolling is fucking. This dice roll is fucking with my head.
Into the thing that you picked first. Yeah. What you're not allowed to do is pick the chaplain to take the initial.
No, you can't. You must shoot the bodyguard portion of the unit first.
So that's big. So we've got.
So you just roll all of the dice.
Mix him up and rip him in half.
It was just a cool demonstration of the change, more than thinking this chaplain is going to survive the deadliest orc in the 41st millennium.
Yeah, Gazgul is
9 4-ups is all he needs here. Apparently,
easy peasy. Oh no, it's not quite enough.
Yeah,
is
cool.
It? No, it's not. Gazgul, absolute wrecking machine in close combat. He's one of the most powerful close combat models in.
Yeah, GG now.
Will he fight on death here? Ooh, I'm not sure he saw it. Either that or he has other plans for his command points.
Yeah, the Marine player didn't fight on death as well.
Interrupting.
No, there isn't a great interrupt. Yeah.
Paul obviously saving some command points potentially for his own turn.
Yeah, he wants to juice up his turn.
He's got a dream. He looked at
Maybe he's saving it. Maybe he's just made a mistake.
Come out of this with what I want it to be.
So we're doing the boys in the Redempted Dreadnoughts.
The orcs here didn't activate, so these orcs can now pile into these eradicators and fight them.
We have the big boss up first.
Yeah, this is sewn up, boys.
Is multiple attacks, strength 7.
I'm telling you, this is sewn up.
Wound. He's the best chance to get wounds
Because Gazgul's unit can still consolidate, and if they're within 5 inches of those intercessors, it's over.
Left, so a few 6s.
Exotic 3 inches, be within 2 inch engagement range.
From the
Sewn up.
ability of the boss knob. Needing 5 to win.
The war boss fought?
Thing so far.
I thought it was.
Big boss has failed. We've also got.
I thought it was the Mega Knobs that fought.
Banner Knob doesn't have like an amazing close combat weapon. He's still like a knob in close combat, so he's still got 4 attacks, which is decent profile, but he's still winning on 6s. Dreadnoughts are surprisingly hard to kill unless you've got a dedicated anti-tank weapon, which is exactly how it should be, right?
This is the knob here with the big chopper. He's got 1 wound so far. He's got 1 wound through.
I think you want the knob to have the power claw.
Yes. He saves it.
He saves. The dreadnought is still going.
He's not going to go down. I don't think he's going down.
I don't know. There's a lot of orcs here with big choppers.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
So they've all got sustained as well from the boss knob.
So we are about to see a bucket load of dice thrown at this dreadnought.
And usually there would actually be some questions about whether they all get to attack here. But because of the 2-inch engagement range, it's not even a thing. They're all in.
Yeah, it's much easier now to mob a single enemy character. So what happened occasionally in the last edition was if you had something like a lone hero, especially in Captain.
Will the Vanguard vets done much with fight on death? I don't think so. It's only on a 4-up.
You'd be unlikely to get the whole unit into close combat.
Chat will be able to confirm.
Engagement, basically get 3
I think if you'd got lucky on the fight on death,
into most combat,
you could have taken the boys out with you.
Get at least not even more models into a fight.
What should have happened here?
Those were the hits.
Is the Vanguard vets went into the death copter,
so we are looking for 6,
and then they fight on death into the boys.
3, 4 so far.
And so
first half
from their turn into the orc turn. And how that swings the game is the death copters are then dead, which means your gladiator reaper's alive, and then the orc boys are then dead, which means that your heavy bolt eradicators don't get sewn up. And
AP1
because that didn't happen,
5s in the pool.
Because that didn't happen. Basically, now the problem you're going to have is
saves there, but they're going to re-rack
you've got just you just haven't got the assets you need
it happens. Hey,
to be able to push back.
All new year. Amazing shot. Loving the terrain as well. I'm so excited by the what the terrain does for our visual here. As a caster, as a selfish commentator, I love the look of the new tables. I think they look absolutely stupendous.
I think one of the things that's really nice about the new terrain.
I think the new tables look better.
Absolutely, there's a new set of terrain.
I still don't think that GW that 140k is.
But the other thing is that the
particularly beautiful looking terrain.
More generous in terms of other stuff you put on them. So
they look
like some weird
better than 10, but that's not hard.
Or fence, or
but it is an improvement.
Alien construct or something like that. Absolutely, you could, and it would still work exactly the same way.
Paul completely rebuffed the first 3 wounds given to him by the first half of the saves. Here comes the second wound roll. 3 more again.
3
Paul
more.
Gets 3 up armor saves here.
3 1s and 2s, and he's down.
Takes 1. He's got 1 left.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what a
dreadnought is.
He's an absolute legend. He's a baller.
Only 1 wound left on that dreadnought. Some very solid saving there from Paul Murphy.
So into the top down, and I think we're going to see this overrun fight now, which is going to be very interesting to talk about. An overrun move is now occurring because they charged, but they didn't activate in the
fight phase. I called it.
They're now eligible to fight. And so when they do their pile-in surge, because they've already piled in at the start of the phase, and there's nothing to fight.
Told you. I told you, boys.
And so you're going to be in 2.
That's it.
Range here.
GG.
Who really needs to get into this fight is the war boss. The war boss should almost take care of this unit by himself. But
yeah, GG. Marines down now.
Reactive move, obviously, combo weapon lieutenant.
Very. I called it, guys.
And ducked his combo weapon lieutenant behind the unit, so there was no way for him to be
catch
attacked.
him, so he can continue to cause problems.
Correct.
And
be a nuisance and be one of the highest value pieces in all of Warhammer 40k.
So this unit is a slightly harder proposition to take out for the war boss.
Toughness 6.
Toughness 6. So
thing is, it doesn't even matter if the Orks don't kill him.
3 wounds each.
It does not even matter if the Orks kill him because you're just tying them up in combat and fucking with them.
This time, in order to get
and this is the Armageddon box war boss. It comes with the big uber big chopper.
So
custom chopper, rather.
Yeah, so you now effectively have a choice between the custom chopper and the power claw. Power claw used to be the go-to for everybody because it gets you better strength and AP, but actually the cleave mechanic is very appealing now. So I think we might see far more people choosing the chopper.
Yeah, it might be a legit. It might be a.
The cleave isn't helping in this matchup because there's not enough models in the Marine unit, but it's a valid point.
Paul, that was a rough roll.
I think he used all of his good luck on those dreadnought saves, didn't he?
Yeah, Eradicator's down, I think.
Gone. The Warboss, like we thought, just one-shot those 3 Eradicators.
So we were saying that he might struggle. He did not struggle.
There you go.
So we thought
GG.
The boys would struggle, but yeah.
G fucking G.
Rip those to pieces.
Terrain is great.
As well.
Yeah, look, I'm not lambasting the GW terrain. I still don't think Games Workshop has. I don't think Warhammer 40k has particularly good terrain.
Yeah, it's good.
But it's a lot better than it was. And hey.
So if you look at the board,
I'll take anything over 10th edition. But yeah, I still don't. Okay, let me clarify. I think 40k has worse looking terrain than a lot of the games out there. I don't think it's terrible looking anymore. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's all right. It's decent. It's
down 4 points.
I think
losing the Gladiator Reaper, but the big swing his
I think the terrain in this matchup isn't particularly great. I think it's fine. I think terrain that you'll see in battle reports, terrain that people use themselves, will be much better. You got to think GW's not using any little scatter rocks or any moss.
Oh, sorry, that was him. Apologies.
The terrain will look much better than what's on display here. This is a bit of GW.
The commander, sorry.
Yes, GW should be doing better, but the community will do a lot better than GW, as always.
Find out. He wasn't in ongoing combat with the commandos. He may have put the tank busters in also.
Yes, yeah. So
I think it's totally valid to criticize the terrain on this board, but I do think overall terrain in 11th edition will be better.
Still do a fair chunk of damage, but they don't have AP into the fight, so they are less good at killing Terminators.
Terminator did just go down in combat to the remnant unit of commandos. Yeah, as we said, the claw boss.
Yes, 2 damage. So he's already taken a wound, hadn't he? So 1 more damage
there he is. Through. This was the lad who did the job.
Yeah, there we are. So he was in combat with both the tank busters and the commandos. So bit off a little bit more than he could choose on that particular fight. Although the Terminators, in fairness, had a great game already. They'd scored well. They'd killed stuff. They'd weathered the storm.
I'm pretty certain this is over for the Marines now, and it didn't need to go this way.
We have the Redemptor to attack.
It didn't need to go this way.
I believe it's going to be hitting on 4s. It's going to hit on 4s now because it is degraded. They're going to be winning on 2s.
Ironically, they could have made this a 4-turn game and
to save because the light is active.
Yeah, so we're just living a charmed life currently. Managed to survive somehow the onslaught of all of those orcs. Dreadnoughts have just never been bad, have they? What, 40,000? And it's just such a cool part.
There's always been some kind of dreadnought which has been legit. Not always melee dreadnoughts, though.
Not bad for a 1-wound dread.
Yeah, just picking them up. Like a handful of orcs there and just
Armor Crush them. 1, Armor Crush 2.
Now, did the Meganobs go into the Intercessors?
Where we are, guys. This is the first live game of the new edition of Warhammer 40,000.
Did the Meganobs go into the Intercessors? If not, I'd like to know why not.
2,000 point lists. We are in turn 4 of this battle. The Orcs are doing very well currently.
Why didn't the Meganobs go into the Intercessors?
For the Orcs, the Space Marines.
They piled in, but they didn't consolidate.
So he's just going through his secondaries now. Center Ground is the new name for Area Denial. He's got 5 points there. You got Overwhelming Force for killing
am I missing something? I don't know combat that well. Like, surely the Meganobs, they piled in, mashed all of the Vanguard veterans. Surely they then get to consolidate, right?
Yeah. So he hasn't.
Why didn't they consolidate?
And so he has managed to hold on to forward position for another turn again. So well done to him. Of course, forward position is quite similar terms and conditions to behind him.
People say,
you can bring that one up on screen when we get a chance.
That's very unusual. I'm sure there is a consolidate
points
move,
on
right?
so far. So great turn there for Adrian, rocking up about 20 points to his overall score, sitting 77 to 46.
No, yeah, Gaz fought, but you still
60 to 40.
consolidate at the end of the phase, right?
Tend to find
They were saying how you could consolidate onto objectives and stuff
in the newer edition because you can bank those cards.
Secondaries.
So where previously
They literally said
20 points down, I'm never getting back in this fight. All of a sudden, you could have a turn where you can score that many points.
They literally said earlier in the battle report, you can consolidate onto the objectives afterwards. How do you remember, guys? They did all the arrows and everything. And they're like, look, it's so much easier to consolidate onto objectives now in 11th edition. And then they just haven't done that.
It's not in your deployment.
Like they didn't. These Mega Knobs could have gone back here, or they could have gone here, or they could have gone here, right?
So effectively, Adrian's
no. Has consolidate changed in 11th before you fight? No, that's piling.
Yeah. Later in the.
So you have piling.
We said about the example
and consolidate.
Ever cycle away a card when you don't need the CP. Well, he's lost his Gretchen, so he doesn't get any additional CP. So this is a turn when you can start, getting rid of those extra command points if you think you need them.
Yeah, you look at the board state and you go, can I get that? Is that worth
nah, man.
Would I rather
the Mega Knobs are here.
Yeah.
That is definitely within 5 inches of that. Because remember, 3-inch consolidate.
What I would love to see
2-inch engagement range.
The Lancer still has a lot of good firepower to apply here. The
definitely
the Morkanaut kind of has to happen.
Definitely. And why aren't these guys consolidated into the combat weapon geezer over here?
Ceramite Sentinels.
Because they overran, killed the guys.
It's a big ask,
they'd still get a consolidate move, surely.
Lined up a worst example if he fails. If he's not right, but anyway, it's 6 Mega Knobs.
Yeah, you've still got the Ballistus Dreadnought firing in there, so the Ballistus Dreadnought has it within its power.
Why wouldn't he consolidate there? Just get punched free, just to tie him up.
But you maybe kill 1 or 2. You've got the Brutalis Dreadnought in there as well. You'd be imagining that he's eyeing up that Morkanaut at the moment in terms of what he wants to kill.
I mean, I think he's eyeing up the fucking Orc boys, but we'll see.
Close combat attacks. I wouldn't fancy his chances were it not for the fact that the Morkanaut had already taken half of its own wounds off with Hazardous.
Yes.
So that is now well within the kill range
100%
of
now right now I think this is in the favor of the Orcs.
The Orcs have had a great turn. They've pushed forward.
I think this is in the favor of the Orcs.
Everything is a target.
But
theoretically, if the 3 major,
I think the fact that he didn't consolidate with the Mega Knobs,
I'm assuming
could pull it back.
Doesn't die here as well, but the Mega Knobs go. I'm not sure there's enough juice left in the tank to maintain the position of pressure that he's in, because of course we have 10 boys that are going to be tied up most likely here, and then we've got a battle wagon that has nothing in it. Of course, tank busters can come out and do.
I think this is. I think they've pulled punches.
The game so far, the tank busters are
hashtag rigged.
Losing my mind at how good the tank busters have been.
Hashtag stop the steal. I'm getting a bit controversial there. But no, seriously, hashtag rigged.
Objective towards the end of the game. And
the fact that he didn't consolidate into there.
You've thrown your potential.
The fact that he didn't consolidate into there, I think, is bullshit.
The Brutalis Dread can step out into this position, see how shooting from the Lancer goes into the Morkanaut, and then have the choice to go into the boys or finish the Morkanaut, potentially using its
infantry, sir.
Tank shot.
Good for you.
Because those intercessors actually matter into the.
Very interesting.
Those intercessors actually massively matter into the
pile-in after you
Mega Knobs because of both the moment and the fact that AP-1 matters now. So they're going to have AP-1. So
I think those are some
4 rolls to hit, +1 to wound because it's Super Oath.
We will get tank shock up on this,
and they could potentially even charge in afterwards because there's a captain in there as well.
Because it
if they wanted to finish it off,
juicy as it was, you kind of
more units can use it.
You much more.
I think, yeah.
There's a little bit of paying the piper that comes along with it, so we'll get that up for you guys when we get a chance. There it is.
Yeah. So this is crushing impact. This is what you.
But don't feel bad. Did it take battle shock? Great question. Learn train play. Great question.
The first difference is that monster and vehicle use this.
Finally.
So
I think there's some punches being pulled here.
Look at this and you're like, yes.
I think there's some punches being pulled.
Good for you. Mobile infantry made me the man I am today.
The way that it works.
The Orcs are doing a Mike Tice versus Jake Paul. I'm going to make that meme.
The things that you charge into.
I'm going to make that meme.
And you roll a dice for each of your toughness characteristics. If you roll a 1, you suffer a mortal wound. And if you roll a 5 up, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. So this is a little bit like all the way back to sort of your 3rd edition tank shot.
Agree.
Right, where it would be a slightly risky proposition to tank shot because you might take some.
You can't have players who have been playing very, very tactically and have been doing very, very well suddenly start pulling fucking punches. What the fuck is going on here?
It's not the immediate go-to stratagem for charging a victory.
I've been playing knights at the moment, and I have so many situations in my head where I'm like, would I want to do it or not? Let's say I have a 2-wound Questoris chassis knight who's just survived Overwatch, has 2 wounds left. If I charge in and kill the unit I've tank shocked and kill myself at the same time, is that good enough? Or am I better off?
Quick shout out to Half in Stream. Thanks for super chat. Thoughts so far? Excited to be painted. I think 11th edition looks different to 10th, which might not sound like a big statement, but I think is important because I think a lot of people assume it'd be 10.5. I don't think it's 10.5. I think the game will feel significantly different. Also, pre-brain train should be good. Secondly, second super chat, Elijah Stowe. Thank you for super chat. The Age of Last Can's ending. The Age of Vodka begins. I agree. 100%. Michael JJ, send the Marine player to the flagship. Send him to the flagship.
It's going to kill itself.
Send him to the bloody exile, man. Send him to the penal battalions. Thank you, 60 months, bro. And Clove, thank you for the double gift membership, man.
He's also got that Lancer as well, which has his iron at the Morkanaut. So you would hope that the Lancer, after failing to do anything last turn, is due some luck.
I think the Space Marines were meant to win this game. I think the lack of overrun, unless we've misunderstood the rules, has been done on purpose.
So he does have options there. Because the mortal wounds, like I said,
I don't know.
Upside against a very durable chassis on the Mega Knobs.
Marines got 4 command points.
Is that when it charges into close combat, you roll a dice, and then you get either D3 or D4.
Rope-a-dope, big people pre-ordering 11.
That's not the stratagem. So if you wanted to, you could potentially also Crushing Impact. So you could do a whole bucket of mortal wounds before you get to swing.
Fuck's sake,
when it swings in close combat, I think the version we're looking at here has the Talons, which it doesn't really matter which one you've got actually, because the Mega Knobs, you're basically just looking for rerolls to wound that are twin linked. So it's a really solid.
It's not over yet.
Here we go. Lancer shooting into the Morkanaut, hitting on.
Could be a big one.
Rerolling one of them.
He's already missed one. It's not a great start.
It is a miss, unfortunately. Of course, has a built-in reroll to hit, to wound, and to damage. That is a wound.
One wound through. He only needs one, potentially.
5 up, field invuln from the Morkanaut. Doesn't make it. D6 plus 3 damage.
6, I believe, will do it.
That is a 2. He's going to re-roll it.
This is the Lancer firing it into
6 damage.
It's not quite enough. It's not quite enough. 5 wounds remaining there. That is pretty gettable now, though. And now the rest of the ancillary shots from the Lancer will be going into the boys. So a couple of Storm Bolters here and an Ironstorm Stubber.
Does this right Sentinels attachment fall back and shoot ability, boys?
Couple of quality shots here. He's going to wear down on this boys unit, and hopefully in his mind.
Can you put 2 times speed Mordian? No, it's live.
The battle.
Yeah, I mean the Redemptor's not.
Wait, is that to see if it's pre-recorded?
There's a mechanism within this version of the Space Marine Army to fall back and shoot. There are some versions of Space Marines. Gladius obviously is an example where you have a mechanism that allows you to fall back and shoot with certain units. That wasn't in play for this particular one, but he's just trying to keep it alive, right? Just trying to pull it back and forward because there's the valuable plasma cannon. Dreadnought is now going to be potentially very important.
Yes, once again risking hazardous though, which will be interesting.
It's live. Why can I speed it up?
I would risk it at this point. It depends, right? And he's not an objective. It doesn't.
I must have been a minute behind.
I think the one to watch,
as
exactly as we're saying, is the Brutalis Dreadnought and that big unit of Interceptors.
I can speed it up.
Phenomenal amount of firepower coming out.
Oh, it's only for a second. No, I think it's just I was a minute behind.
Both potentially if they're shooting to
maybe
hitting on 3s, re-rolling, and then he'll be winning on 4s, re-rolling everything if he spends the 2 command points that I believe he's
maybe
to do.
You probably buffed it,
which could potentially be 20 plus wounds. So it should be somewhere in the region.
I might have paused it at some point. Yeah,
it's on there, which means
I think that would have been hilarious if I could have sped it up.
He's taking a third of those. That's 10 plus.
I thought we got them red-handed,
which is 3 or more Mega Knobs, and that's before the Captain, the Ancient, and the grenade launchers take effect. So I'm even just running through this in my head. And I'm like, sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good, mate.
Well, he's always been a fan of Ceramite Sentinels.
And always. He's a long-term Ceramite Sentinels player.
Yeah, the melter gun on that Brutalis as well. Also
Ballistus into the Morkanaut to finish his las cannons.
Yeah.
One hit so
we were
far.
saying before, like the potential firing arcs of some of these units is now much increased, based on what you might have expected from previous editions. I don't know if we can get a top down, but the ballistas there firing basically across the battlefield, across that large piece of terrain at that Mordian.
He has unfortunately got cover on the entire Mordian, so the 3 fails, and the ballistas does not put a hit so it does not put a wound on the Mordian.
Do you see what I mean, though? The Ballistas Dreadnought isn't a good unit for this edition because it's firing lots of low volume shots. So did you notice how like the ballistas just didn't do anything? Because you've got Marines hitting on 4s, no oath of moment, and you've only got 4 shots coming out of that unit
at the bottom, and because both of those were putting their toe into the terrain, they were able to basically see through shoot at each other. So you've got
it's all about
potential
volume.
But it'll be
it's not about pure volume. It's about it's all about mid-level firepower.
Like we're talking about.
Yeah, we're not talking bolters. We're talking autocannons.
The Mordian, but no wounds from that. So one powerful piece is gonna hurt.
He rolled a 3 to hit with the missile, which would have hit the knobs, mega knobs, because they're not entirely within cover.
A repulsor executioner is pretty good.
Every model in the unit they've
got a bit of volume, right? But they still have
gain the benefits.
15 guns. That's a good point.
You'll just be killing yourself, out of cover until you are into cover. Of course, with activations being used to your advantage. So yeah, that would.
But you see how the Gladiator Lance has not been doing what it really wants to be doing.
So yeah,
the thing is, like Space Marine units are really weird because they've got loads of like
on top of the model.
Space Marine units have got like Storm Bolter stacks and everything. But if you actually look at like the meaningful firepower for this edition that's coming out of them,
Brutalis melters.
They've got like they've got no mid-level firepower. It's either Makarov gun, a billion Storm Bolters and heavy stubbers.
So it makes them very, very reliable.
And that's it.
In melter range as well. So a fail will be an auto kill on the save. No need to roll the damage.
+2 damage into those mega.
It's not just about volume though. You need to have that. You need to have AP1 and damage 2 or 3. I'm not sure the Rep-X has that.
Very solid.
2+ armor.
They will get involved this time.
I think it's got the Makarov gun and then a bunch of shit guns, but I'd have to double check it.
Yeah, they don't have the 4-up invulnerable save that Terminators, the kind of equivalent.
You could take a 3 damage plasma Rep-X with Emptors. That might be better then.
Yeah, he's got a bunch
that might be better
in there as well.
Yeah.
I've never seen it with the plasma alternative, Elderly. That's a good shout. I didn't know that was a thing. I've only ever seen it with the big gun, so lambast me.
Here we go. Okay, and he's doing this now because you run the risk if he kills another Mega Knob. If this one was to die, he'd actually pull the back end of his unit that are just off screen to the right out of line of sight.
So Paul has been looking forward to this particular shooting.
This is it.
Since we started talking about this game. So we're now seeing that big unit of intercessors top left of the battlefield firing into the Mega Knobs. The things to watch here are that Mega Knob unit not in cover, so no minuses to hit. They have an Oath of Moment on them because we don't have any Blood Angel specific units in the army. So Oath of Moment also gives them +1 to
Why are they not in cover?
So powerful. They AP1 that Paul's kind of consideration.
Hang on, that's a huge moment. Why are the Mega Knobs not in cover? Is it because not every model in the unit is towing into cover?
He's spent for lethal and sustain for one of the Ceramite Sentinel abilities also because he's entrenched.
So it might be for you to get cover on a unit, every model in the unit needs to be at least towing in. If that's true, massive, huge fucking change.
All of them. In this particular interaction.
And look, he's selling me on this. This is just the first series.
This is the most battle line of all battle line space units.
I don't think it'll be wholly within Swordsmith, but I think every model in the unit has to be at least towing in. So like, but I think I'm sort of putting your words, but I think I know what you were saying.
In the Ork army.
Correct.
I think what we might see is a lot of those Mega Knobs dead, but Gaskell's still standing at the end of it. And then he's going to have the...
Yeah, if I had been the Marine player here, I wouldn't have gone for the Gladiator Lance. I wouldn't have gone with the Mordian with this guy.
Rolling ones. He did not spend the 4 rolls to wound here. That is
why.
I assumed that he would. Oh no, he can't. He cannot because you can only use a 1 stratagem per unit per phase. It came up. Lethal sustain was the better activation. Of course, it was cheaper, discounted with the captain to be free.
Lethal sustained? I would have gone for 4 rolls to wound on this every day of the week. I
assumed he would go the rerolls, but the lethal sustained.
4 rolls to hit, 4 rolls to wound, +1 to wound.
So to speak.
What the fuck are you on, Marine player? What the fuck are you on? Well, someone else might know the maths better than me, but I'd go for the 4 rerolls.
Saves to come.
But is this a huge amount of shots out of space? I don't think I've ever seen a space marine unit roll this many dice in a single turn.
Maybe the repulsive executioner.
Maybe
has just so many guns. So many guns. But it doesn't actually. No, it doesn't have 40 shots.
I don't know what. Something's in the way.
Someone in the chat's doing the math right now for me. 5 back in for sustained. So he got 5 lethal sustained on the first volley. He's got 5 lethal sustained on the second volley. I think he's going again after this as well.
Yeah, so the basic unit's getting out 40 shots, but because of the way that they're exploding, basically,
it's funny how the dice they're using aren't like Space Marine themed dice. I swear I've seen. Is that like a 1,000 Suns symbol on that dice, like the circle down there?
The wound roll. So
yeah.
Or maybe it's like a Blood Angel symbol, a Death Cube symbol. It does look like it's a bit of a mixture of dice. I'm not sure what the circle one's meant to be.
Likely in the previous edition. To a unit that is, toughness 6.
I remember the old dice, yeah.
Saves.
But I wonder what that circle one is.
See a big old handful
Here we go.
of Orc saves.
There are Blood Angel symbols, but I don't know what that circle one is.
1s and 2s is a wound. Each one of those Mega Knobs has got 3 wounds each. It looks like a good save on initial read.
I can see 9, I believe. So that'll be 3 Mega Knobs dead. If my count's correct.
There's one more in there.
Might be 1 short. 4, yeah, I saw 9 fails. So that would be 3 Mega Knobs down.
So that is
goddamn Rain Man of Dice, the commentator. He just took one glance at it, 9 fails.
Small units if you want, about 2 or 3, up to 6. So this is he would have already removed a small unit of Mega Knobs. He's now getting more hits into them. We've also got a grenade launcher still to come, I think. The captain, I think, has probably got a gun of some sort as well. So that's the big one.
It's the captain and the banner now to come.
Captain and the banner both have relic bolt guns, effectively. So they're just firing into that unit as well to try and get some more wounds stripped.
All players usually got dice, that's true.
Active these as well. 2 more wounds. There's the captain with relic shield.
Here is the captain. Heavy bolt pistol is what he's got. Heavy bolt pistol.
Oh, another couple of saves failed there, just from the
captain showing him how it's done.
It's 3. He failed all 3 of the next saves from the ancient. The thrill pass, apologies, yeah. These are 2 damage each. Does bring down another Mega Knob there with the ancient. So that's 3 down total.
I don't think it's enough.
From the captain to finish, and then it'll be the.
I don't think it's enough. I don't know.
So, the captain, actually, the worst model at shooting in that whole unit. Everybody else has got a dedicated weapon.
I don't think that's enough.
But that's mostly because he's carrying an enormous relic shield. So
he found another one. Makes another one. Yeah, just the grenade launchers left, I believe.
It's close, though.
Yeah, so the grenade launchers will be.
But I just feel like
2 win Mega Knob there.
I feel like if Gaz lives, it's just
going for the solid shots.
So it's kind of irrelevant.
4 dead so far. That's pretty solid shooting.
Yes, that is solid shooting.
I think we might be sold. I think Paul might have sold us on the Space Marine intercessors led by a captain.
Has sold me. Oath of Moments for the reroll. 2 hits. Winning with +1 to win here. Should be winning on 2s. With rerolling 1s for being entrenched. Just 1 into a 1 there.
That's a 1-2.
So going to a 4-up save.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, fails on both. Sorry, he failed both saves. He did roll 2, but didn't need to. D3 there. Only 1. Will not take down another. He does take it. Down to 1 there.
So that's very good shooting there. So that unit has gone from the most terrifying unit on the battlefield to effectively Gaz and a couple of dudes.
But that's all it needs. All it needs is Gaz.
And 1 free command point from the captain was able to take down 4 and a bit Mega Knobs.
Yeah, and this is the
those Mega Knobs would be dead
from the Eye of Terror
if the Reaper was still around.
So that is a
not killing that Reaper. I think has cost
2 Mega Knobs.
Not killing those Death Copters. I think has cost the Marines.
1 win left, and now we have the Librarian activating now. Strength 6, he has hit.
I mean, there's some little bits coming in, but I think if Gaz lives, he basically clears things up on his own.
So Psychic, rather than being, it used to just be a keyword on a power, Psychic now.
People are saying it's a pretty dull battle report.
Modifiers.
I agree. I think.
So innately, it's very similar to.
I think that the format that Games Workshop went for here was a big mistake.
You can also use it on stuff that negates.
Big mistake. I'm not saying. I think playing this game would be fun, but I think watching it.
Who is -1 to hit in combat.
I think the format they've gone for here is the wrong way of doing it
against a Demon Primer. He did drop another one. So it's 1 Mega Knob and
guys, it's the format, not necessarily the game itself.
1 Mega Knob.
And I'm no GW ball washer
at all. I'm impressed.
But it's a very
Paul Murphy. You have impressed me. They did.
I was going to pull the volume down here a second so I can talk to you a little bit about this. So basically, what the issue with the format of this game is that it's really good if you like sort of a top-down, sort of clinical analysis of the game. If you want a more competitive analysis of the game,
just roll high enough with his charge that he's going to make Gaz. He's going to make it to Gaz.
That's awesome.
Usually you would not declare that. Because you wouldn't declare to going into guys instead of going into the boys because you risk failing.
That's quite a big thing. So yeah, so do you see what I mean? Like there are exciting moments happening right now. Oh my God. You know, the Charge Red not making it into Gaz and everything. Like this, do you know what I mean? Like this should be a really exciting game, but the format that they've gone for is totally wrong. The format that they should have gone for this game, they should have just had 2 guys in a room. Like they should have gone almost El Clasico in my mind. Not necessarily the way that I do things. You could have still had like the top-down camera. You could have still had the you could have still had the camera, but the problem is like we are like detached from this game. I think they really should have had this. If it had been me, I would have had just the 2 players playing the game commenting on it, be like, "Oh my God, Brutalis Dreadnought! Ah, he's only gone and done it." It's, you know, do you see what I mean?
This is all wildly new. This is so exciting, guys. So because he didn't have to declare a target for his charge,
but you see what I mean? Like it's the format I think they've gone for, which is the issue.
He was able to high roll, get into Gaz, which shuts down the heroic, which lets the intercessors who would not have charged at all otherwise make a charge into the boys. And I got to say, oh my God, that is very exciting.
This is going to be a very cool combat as well. Now, I would not write the Orks off out of this combat.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
So that Brutalis goes in. Brutalis very good at killing stuff. They're very good at dishing out pain. Gazgul has an invuln save. I think Makari's still kicking around somewhere in the mix. Yeah. So I would imagine what will happen is...
This is a pretty cool moment, though.
And then we will be left with either Gazgul or Gazgul and Makari still going, and they will, in all likelihood, kill
the only thing that could happen is he high rolls the impact models, and then with crushing, he does the new tank shock, gets rid of Makari.
Yes,
that's the only way he does this. If he's able to kill that Meganob with the crushing impact, and then use the new version of tank shock to get rid of Makari, then he can get Gaz. Then he can get Gaz with the actual attacks of the Brutalis.
I think
I think Gaz still has an.
I think
he does.
Still wouldn't be a done deal.
I think not. I think not consolidating with the Meganobs.
Opportunity, and he seized it.
He seized it. That was so cool, guys.
If I was being charitable, I'd say it was a mistake.
I know we've been talking about Gazgul a lot. The other fight is also very cool. You got Space Captain in the mix there. You got an old Warboss in the mix there. You've got a big sort of. That's like
Varak couldn't hack it and ended the misery. What really? Varak, one minute.
We are. That is a cool visual.
Is that actually true?
That is pretty much.
You've even got the banner there. He's trying to get to the middle of the battlefield to plant the banner in the middle of the building. Yeah, this is cool.
This is pretty much the intro, the cinematic we had at the start of the
It's like we planned the whole thing.
Yeah. We didn't plan any of this, by the way. We didn't tell.
Oh my God, it's true.
How to play this game? We said just deploy and wait for our go.
Let me turn this off. I'm just muting it for a second. Varak stopped streaming. Varak actually stopped streaming. He apologized to his viewers. What do you mean he apologized to his viewers? I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Wait, what? Right, we'll come back to that in a moment. What the fuck?
Okay, so we're just hearing from the battlefield. This might be quite significant.
Yes.
That's insane.
Quite significant is that.
That's insane. I don't think it was that bad. But this is the thing. I'm a tournament player. So I don't really mind things being a bit more like clinical, top down and stuff. But this is what I was saying. They've gone for completely the wrong format
3 mortal wounds
of this game.
So we'll need to make a feel no pain to save this Meganob. Ooh, 1 wound remaining.
So the Meganob, I believe,
it's because this is very 10th edition.
No, the other one was
like in terms of like. Look, we'll talk about it at the end. We'll talk about it at the end, okay?
It's more that he needs to get to Makari.
Makari is a very weird little grot. Basically, the way he works is he tags along with Gazgul and he gives him a 2-up invulnerable save.
Correct.
His stats are otherwise awful.
Great shot.
But there we go. That is an absolute brawl in the middle of the battlefield there. I do think the Gazgul can come out on top of that one.
He should. With the Blade of Wounds, he absolutely should. Yeah. That is 4 wounds on Gazgul.
I actually think it's swinging back and forth a bit. Guys, I'm just going to say, a couple of times I've been like, oh yeah, the Marine players totally got it. Oh yeah, the Orc players totally got it. Oh yeah, the Marine players totally got it. I actually think it's swinging back and forth a bit. But
they are so good.
They're very good. And I think arguably as well more useful now in something.
But maybe it's scripted. Maybe it's scripted.
But because of the way that the wound allocation works, actually, I think there's some play in putting him in other units.
Me too. Absolutely. Makari just becomes like the true stopgap for Gaz. For probably a single activation, when you put the next activation in, you'll probably get him after that. But that puts the pressure on your opponent to make some things happen. So
that's cool. So we have seen all of the Mega Knobs now killed. Destroyed. That's a combination between mostly the Intercessors and then the Brutalis Dreadnought coming in to finish the job, but not enough to put any wounds onto Gazgul. He is now going to have to weather the storm back at him. I think next... Are we seeing an interrupt?
Interrupt has occurred. The boys,
as expected,
and the boys into the Intercessors, and this is going to be big because Cleve now here too.
Now the War Boss is currently sitting on 12 attacks because this is an undamaged unit of Intercessors.
See, this is the problem.
2 attacks for every for having 10. Unit.
So the Ork boys, and so basically the Brutalis. This is the problem with the game. Right, let me explain.
Terrifying stuff.
This is the problem. So the Marine player just did an epic charge and is getting fucked for it. And the reason why he's getting fucked for it is because he charged Gazgul with Brutalis Dreadnought, but because Gazgul's got a 2+ invulnerable save on Makari and the Mega Knob, it basically meant that the Brutalis Dreadnought goes in there and just bounces. And then you have the epic charge of the Intercessors, but now because you have stratagems like Interruption, it basically means that you try and set the epic moment up, but because you've got like things like Interrupt and all this kind of stuff, it ruins. So this should have been an epic final charge from the Marines, and it just completely falls flat. It completely falls flat. This should have been a brothers to me, like charging in, and then basically the Ork player goes interrupt. And the epic moment completely falls flat on its face. Completely falls flat on its face. That's that's the issue.
That was an atypically large number of Space Marines to die. I would, it's fair saying. I guess on the odd.
And this is what I'm talking about with.
Probably expect maybe 5.
I think 11th edition is a step in the right direction, but I think there's some very fundamental core problems to the game which aren't being fixed, and these are core problems which are part of the fundamental game design. For example, removing initiative. This wouldn't have happened if initiative existed in the game. If initiative existed in the game, you would have an epic moment right now. Because initiative was removed and they replaced it with things like interrupt, you have it and fights first. That's the problem you're having. And this is some, and 11th edition just can't fix that because it's not
chosen to do the Erdi syringe.
You know what I mean? It's just not fixing the fundamental flaws.
D6 mortal wounds, and he's hoping to clear out
syringe the captain.
Yes, he's hoping to Erdi syringe the captain. Here comes the Doc's tools. So everything else is done. We have one Intercessor. Oh, sorry.
I'm not saying 11th edition is bad.
One Intercessor left, the Ancient and the Captain.
I'm not saying 11th edition is bad. And I think there'll be lots of people that will watch this game and love it, and that's fine, by the way.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is,
he wants to try and get that Erdi syringe.
There's a lot of people have drifted away from the game for certain reasons. And I don't think this edition is going to recapture them, which I think is going to be an issue because GW's been tugging on the nostalgia strings with like the old Landspeeder coming back, and
so when you take hits now,
the Intercessors making look like Firstborn and stuff.
Before you roll your saves, what order they're going to be applied.
I think the issue is that it's not going to bring back.
Then banner.
This edition is still really going to appeal to the more clinical, to the more competitive players, and those aren't bad players, by the way. Like, there's all sorts of people in this community, but I don't think this edition is going to recapture those more emergent narrative, evocative players.
And then the boys managed to drag the last.
I think you'll have some people which will see no problem with what's happening right now, and you'll have some people which see a big problem with what's happening right now. And to be clear, neither side is wrong. This is an offensive moment. Neither side is wrong.
So potentially.
So don't be fighting with each other. Recognize this isn't us fighting each other. Recognize this is a result of the game.
He got the 6.
It's a normal save. It's a normal armor save from the captain.
Made it.
Okay, he has made it safe.
And now it's the D6 Mortals. 5 wounds on the captain.
Oh, it's gone through. It's gone through.
5?
Oh my goodness.
Did he just one-shot him? Does the shield give him a 6th, or is it... Let's have a look at that data sheet.
The captain might have 6 wounds.
I think he has 6. Oh, the shield!
Is he going to use a command point?
Is he going to CP a 5 to get a 6? Oh, that is some big dog stuff right there. Adrian...
Oh, you can't use it. Okay, so it's not a damage, it's just D6 mortal wounds.
Of course, yeah, actually, it's not a damage roll.
That's fine.
It's not on the profile, so you can't re-roll it.
Oh,
but what
that's
an
wild.
epic...
So the Pain Boy nearly killed the captain with the early syringe, which is kind of cool.
What we've just seen was the War Boss cleave through that Space Marine squad, the rest of the squad dragged down by the Orks along with the Banner Bearer, and the Pain Boy stepped up to administer a lethal injection to the Space Marine captain. He's got his dock tools, which are pretty decent, right? They're kind of basically a power claw.
The Urti syringe.
Combat. But then the Urti syringe is the one that he managed to do get through there on the captain, which basically, if you manage to get a wound through, which doesn't have any AP, you can do D6 mortal wounds.
That's pretty good.
The opponent.
This may
he manages to do. The captain is now regretting his life choices.
Yes.
Having charged that unit of Orks.
But you see, this is all happening in the Space Marine player's turn. So what should have been an epic comeback for the Space Marines is just turn into a bitter pill to swallow. And you've got to think.
Should have attacked with the captain next.
You've got to think, if you're a new player coming into this game, or if you're a narrative player who's coming back to this game,
just swung the game.
That's not going to feel very good, is it?
Position after executing those 2 charges.
That's not going to. You went for a cool epic charge and got punished for it.
No,
that's
but if it
not
I suppose he was worried about the brutality
going to appeal to a lot of players. To tournament players, there's going to be an element of, oh yeah, you should have a plan for being able to play around that. You should have been able to take that into account. You shouldn't have gone for that big charge. And they're not right. They're not wrong. Sorry, they're not wrong. Not wrong at all. I'm not demonizing them. I'm not saying one side's right, the other. I'm saying think about the optics and the feelings rather than the logical, cold, tactical aspect of it.
Did you just roll 5 ones? 6 ones. You just rolled 6 ones to wound. He hit with all his attacks, rolled only ones. He is shook, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely shook by the interrupt. Yeah, the War Boss has
captain looks great though. Look at I will say this though. Look at that captain model. He looks like a firstborn captain. I've actually got an old
maybe not the best showcase of the Space Marine captain's combat ability,
but a real one.
If I could just show you that captain model there, actually does remind me a lot of this one here when you look at it.
All ones to win.
The dice.
So I do think they've done a good job with some of the models. I will say that
a little bit. Towards the Orks, they were looking good. If he had to negotiate, if he had like most of the intercessors alive right now, I think he trucks along in this game quite happily.
All you needed really was the Dreadnought to not die.
Yeah.
To Gaz just to hold him in place for a little bit.
I think all you needed was not interrupt to exist.
Had managed to kind of do their job into it. I would have been tempted, I think, to precision into that War Boss.
Well, now, with knowledge of forethought, you do that every time, people at home. Every time.
Having said that, though, if you rolled 6 ones to wound,
correct.
Still wouldn't have worked. Still wouldn't have worked, would it? So never mind. But that's the game, right? That's what you play. You roll the dice and sometimes.
Yeah, I think the Marine players lost this now.
To the last battle round of the game now.
I think
our score sheet up for us.
I don't think there's anything the Marine player can do to bring this back. I think the Orks are too far ahead.
So this is Orks. So Orks currently.
And I think it basically came down to 2 very big mistakes from the Space Marine player. I think pushing forward with the Eradicators and the Vanguard Veterans that turn was a bad decision. And I think
from Paul's side, he's putting
doing that counter charge at the end there was also a mistake because you just lost a unit in your turn.
They had a couple of practice games and that's it. So, but Paul did take burden of trust and center ground being what we would colloquially have called area denial previously, and naturally he wasn't able to punch through the Orks and able to get there with the intercessors. That was the hope.
I think it's a real shame. I think I was really excited for that Space Marine charge. Then I think if that Space Marine charge goes off, the game is back on.
This is charge the Brutalis, exactly. But
now I think that Space Marine charge not going off has sealed it up, because the Space Marine charge could have been really epic. Because think about it, they could have charged in, swept the boys, got onto the objective, and then just got run over by the battle wagon, and that's cool as well. Like, brother, we're doing it, boys, we're doing it.
They
getting run over, cool.
So when the Mega Knobs go down and the whole unit,
that way the Space Marine player could still have lost,
not the low half. They will,
but it would have been
so Gaz
funnier
take a battle shocking, right?
and funner for both players involved.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Infantry, sir.
would have been very Lord of the Rings.
Mobile infantry made me the
You know how, like, you know, when the Rohirrim
Exactly right. So
charge into the side of the Orc infantry and like obliterate them, and it's like, we're doing it, saving the sea, all this kind of stuff. And then the Mummakill turn up. That would have been basically that moment on board, because the Intercessor would have swept the Orc boys, but then got crushed by the Morkanaut and the Battle Wagon. That would have been really cool. But because the interrupt stratagem exists, that moment is denied, and it just becomes a bitter pill to swallow.
Here comes the Morkanaut. Will we see the Morkanaut kill itself on Hazardous? Surely Adrian pushes the button. Surely he goes.
I don't think he's going to push the button.
How many wounds he got left? Like
5.
5 wounds left.
I don't think he pushes the button.
So Paul Murphy does get to reapply Oath of Moment right now in the start of this battle round also. Sorry, no, apologies, he doesn't. But the
interrupt is like Overwatch,
and of course we don't.
And there's a reason why they changed
Overwatch anymore. So, but he could technically Overwatch with the Lancer if he wanted at the end of this movement phase, because of course different timing now on that ability.
Interestingly as well, when we get into the combat phase, in the last edition, that Brutalis would have been going first into Gazgul.
Now he's not.
Because it now starts with the player whose turn it is activating first. Gazgul will, in all likelihood...
I see why Varak quit off the game now. It's because the Marines are going to lose.
It's one captain swinging to most of a full unit of boys.
I don't mind anymore.
I don't think that mind. Yeah, I think they've done their job.
Okay over there.
They're happy. They've crumped enough this day.
We are going to have the refight of the Dreadnought into the Orcs, aren't we? So
we are. He will not let his prize leave. He's going to loot that Redemptor. So that looks to be about a unit of 5.
I think there'll be a lot of. I do think there'll probably be a lot of.
The big boss and the Banner Knob in
a lot of Warhammer players were happy that the Marines lost. Well,
also have shooters.
No, it's more that they'll be happy the Marines lost than the Orcs won, because people do like to dunk on the Marines a bit.
We said, didn't we, before? The Orcs game plan really is at the end.
So if you guys are okay with it, I'm just going to turn down the commentators, because I'm just going to keep them on in the background of my headphones. I do suspect that the game is probably over. Obviously, if it comes back, we'll talk about it. But I do think that the game is kind of like basically over at this point. And unless anything radically different changes, unless anything wild changes, I don't think we're going to see the Marines win this. The reason why I would make that assessment is because I think Gazgul gets to fight first in this fight, because he's because of the changes. In 10th he would have fought second. In 11th he gets to fight first. So Gaz is going to obviously clear up the Brutalis Dreadnought there. The Orc boys here are obviously going, again, similar situation. In the previous edition, the Orcs would have fought after the captain, but now the Orcs fight before the captain. So the Orc boys are going to clear the captain up here. I think the Redemptor Dreadnought down here is probably going to die as well, because you've got the Morkanaut and you've got the Orc boys. That Redemptor Dreadnought's on 1 wound. And so at the end of the Orc turn, even if nothing happens to the Brutalis Dreadnought or anything, at the end of the Orc turn, the Marines are going to have a Gladiator Lancer, 5 Desolation Marines, 2 characters, and a Redemptor Dreadnought. Best case scenario. And when you realistically think, like, are the Marines going to be able to get back into the game with those forces, because this is turn 5, and I don't think they'll be able to. I think even if they have an absolutely amazing turn, I just don't think they will do, because the Marines are taken hold. Their mission is taken hold. So the problem with that is they need enough objective control to be able to take and hold, and I'm just not sure they're going to be able to do that. Bear in mind that the Orcs do get to score at the bottom of their turn, as well as the Marines getting to score at the bottom of their turn, because again, another change from 10th to 11th. And I'm really not seeing any way that the Marines are going to be able to get back into this game when they are 24 points down already, and the Orcs haven't scored yet, because the Orcs score at the end of the turn, same as the Marines. So the Orcs are probably going to end on high 8. I'd say the Orcs probably going to end on sort of high 80s in terms of points, maybe 90 plus points. I suspect the Marines will probably end up maybe they'll get sort of mid 70s. I think the Marines will probably could get, even at this stage, could get 20 points out of the game because of end of turn scoring. So we'll see. So yeah, I think it'll probably end with an Orc victory. I'll be very, very surprised if that doesn't happen. And I think what we've kind of seen here in terms of the sort of I guess it wasn't scripted. No, I guess it was scripted. So to give my sort of final thoughts on the game here, I do think that there was some good back and forth moments on this, but I think the back and forth moments seem to come from some mistakes, which is fine. Because if, losing it... Look, at the end of the day, the Space Marine player has lost this game because he made a mistake. He snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. I absolutely think at that sort of turn 3 moment, the Orks were in a really bad position. I think they weren't in a great place to stage or slingshot for a good go turn. And I think the Marines, because basically the Marines could have like weathered what was thrown out there, and then the Orks basically just start sort of losing on piecemeal like attrition. You got to think if the Vanguard veterans hadn't been here, if they'd been back here, if the Eradicators hadn't been here, they'd been back here, for example. Then what does the Ork player charge? The Vanguard veterans aren't far enough forward to be able to get them. There's not a good overrun target for the Ork boys. You have a go turn, but you end up just sort of going out into the middle of fucking nowhere, which doesn't seem great. And then the Gladiator Lancer would have probably not Lancer, the Gladiator Reaper probably would have still been alive as well. And that or the Gladiator Lancer, the Gladiator Reaper would have died because that's the only viable target that Gaz could have realistically gone after. At which point, the Orks are not putting pressure on the Marines. The Marines just continue to basically gun down the Orks. So I think that mistake with the Vanguard veterans was absolutely game changing. And look, as we have taken a few shots. We have taken a few shots at GW and 11th edition here, but like I said, I think I would much rather a game was lost because a player made a mistake than a game was lost because 2 players turned up and one player had turned up with rock and one player had turned up with paper, and there was nothing that the rock player could do, right? So overall, I don't think this was a particularly bad game from a if you were playing it perspective. I think, so. I don't think it's a particularly bad game from a if you were playing it perspective. I think you could look back on that and go, I lost because those Vanguard veterans. God damn it. Now, having said that, like I said, I do think this was a very bad game from a format. I do think this is a very bad game from a format perspective because the Morkanaut died, by the way. He pushed the button. That's such a good... By the way, quick jump in here. That's such a good trade for the Ork player. Because the Ork player loses a Morkanaut, but takes out the Gladiator Lancer. So you know how I was saying, like, the Marine player had that Gladiator Lancer left? Doesn't matter, he hasn't got it now. So now at the end of this game, at the end of this turn, the Marine player is only going to have 5 Marines, 2 characters, and a Dreadnought left over. So that's a good trade for the Ork player to do that. That's actually, it might look like a bad thing for the Orks. That's a really good thing for the Orks there. That Lancer was probably one of the few things that could have done something to the Orks, and now it's gone. It's, GG. The Redemptor Dreadnought's gone, like I said. The Lancer's gone. Yeah, so massively sewn up for the Orks now. So going back to what I was saying, I think the format that GW chose this game was completely wrong. I think they had successfully tempted a lot of players back towards 11th. And I think they had successfully done that by saying that the game was going to be more narrative, and by saying that the terrain was going to be more immersive, and by showing some Firstborn-esque models off, like the new Intercessors, like the new Landspeeder. And then you say all these things, and then you come over to the first game of the edition. And don't get me wrong, there's loads of really useful and cool information in this game. And I think, a lot of more clinical players, more tournament players, more competitive players are going to be looking down at this, and they are going to be salivating. Because I think if you're a competitive is not the right term. I think if you're... No, competitive is the right term. I think if you're a more competitive, logical, analytical-minded kind of player, then you are right now, there's 1,000 things going through your head. I am a semi-competitive player, and I'm looking at this and I'm going, you got a lot of people in chat who are telling me, Mordian, this game is bad, this game is bad, this game is bad. And I don't disagree with you, but bear with me. as a semi-competitive player, I'm looking at this, and there's 1,000 different new challenges that I have to overcome. This game is not just 10th edition ported over. There's a few hanging chads like Interrupt and so on and so forth, but this is a different game. The fact that the gun line was the gun line could have won this game. The fact that ignores cover was shown to be so important in this game, whereas it's just not in 10th edition. The way that the way that there was almost like a more methodical, attritional way of playing this game, and that was viable rather than the turn 1 stage, turn 2 go. Think about it. We didn't have a turn 1 stage, turn 2 go. The Orc player tried to stage turn 1 and got punished for it. So I do think there's a lot of new tactical puzzles that are going to be unlocked with this game, that are going to be presented with this game. And I think that as a player of this game, there's going to be lots of opportunities for us to come up with answers to those tactical puzzles. So from that point of view, this game was actually, very successful. And and that's why I'm not down on it. That's why I'm not salty. That's why I'm not beefing on it. But you've got to think about, if you're a player that has drifted away from this game for exciting, immersive moments, has this game confirmed what GW told you were going to have? Absolutely, it has not. And it could have done. If they just changed the presentation format, it could have done. But you've got a top-down competitive camera. You've got 2 people commenting on it. You've got things like stratagems and data sheets being flashed upon the screen. You've got information being presented, not spectacle. And that's why I think you've got people like Varak who have just gone, this is boring as fuck, and tuned it off. That's why you've got a load of people in this chat who are looking at this game and going, this is a bag of shit. Because they've been tempted back to look at the game because GW told them more narrative, more immersion, all that kind of stuff, asymmetrical warfare, all that kind of stuff. And it's not happened. They've not seen it. They've been told it, but they've not seen it. And then you've had a couple of moments here where it looked, and then not only have they not seen it, but you've had a couple of moments where it looks like, oh, same shit, different day. Like that epic charge from the Space Marines should have been an absolute slam dunk, absolute immersion. If you're a channel member, spam it in chat. You've got the emoji. That should have been an absolute immersion moment, right? It should have been an absolute immersion moment. It should have been an absolute cinema moment. The Space Marine captain rallying his brothers around him. Brothers! This day we go to die by the Emperor's table, but we will not sell our lives in vain. Charge for the Emperor! Ah! That's what it should have been. And they should have been like, drive them, men! Drive them back into the abyss from whence they came! And that could have happened. But do you know what happened instead? The Space Marine captain rallies his brothers around him, charges in, and gets bent over and butt-fucked. Because there's no initiative stat in the game. So what happens is the Orc player goes, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, you've activated my trap card. And suddenly the immersion broken. Utterly broken. And the last epic, desperate Hail Mary charge of the Marines is denied. And is it denied because of narrative reasons? Is it denied because of immersive reasons? Is it denied because of epic reasons? No. It's denied because the Orc player the immersion's completely broken because the Orc player spent a command point and played a card. Do you see why do you see why that's an issue? It's not that the Orc player did anything wrong. It's not that the game didn't function. It's not that, from a tactical perspective, that was bad. No. But you see how there's 2 different things going on here. And you see how this game was built to like draw people back. And you see how it did, and it from a tactical point of view, very exciting, very interesting. But from an immersion point of view, complete failure. Complete failure. So do you see why I'm saying those players who are looking at this game and saying, I love this, all of the tactical opportunities, all the new puzzles that I've got to solve, all of the new dilemmas I've got to overcome, those sort of more immersive, they're not immersive, those more sort of analytical players are absolutely loving this. And you see why the immersive epic cinematic crowd aren't loving this. Neither camp is wrong, but one camp is getting what they want from the game and one camp isn't getting what they want from the game. That's the issue. That's the issue. And I would just say, if you're a tactical player and you're loving this, and you're seeing a narrative player who's not loving this, don't lambast them. And if you're a narrative player and you're seeing a tactical player who's loving this, don't yuck their yum, because neither one of you is wrong. Take a moment to appreciate the other person's perspective and respect it. You don't have to agree with each other, but you can respect each other. And that's what I think we need to see from this. And I think, unfortunately, that's not what we're going to see from this, because everyone lives on the internet these days and everyone's just going to take an opportunity to fucking mog on each other. I think this is just I think that everyone's just going to basically mog on each other. Yeah. 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 That's it.
2 hits on the las cannons. 2's the wound thanks to Oath.
They're still playing the game now, but as predicted, going into this is still the.
It's a wound through, so we got a wound through.
I think this is still the Orc turn.
5 damage onto Ghazghkull.
It must be the Space Marine turn.
3 wounds left on Ghazghkull.
Crack missiles.
I think it's the Space Marine turn now. But yeah, you see how the Space Marines have basically just got like the Ballistus, the Librarian, the Combat Lieutenant, and Desolation Marines. The Space Marines have got 8 models on the board.
1 wound on Ghazghkull.
We've got 1 wound. A 4-up save will keep him alive. A 1, 2, or 3, and he could be.
So 2 saves. 4-ups here. Fails them both.
Double 1 and he lives. Anything else?
Double 1 and he lives. Got it. Ghazghkull goes down.
So the closing shot of the battle, the Space Marines, despite losing on points, have managed to get the consolation prize of taking out.
So Ghazghkull, they killed. So the Space Marines killed Ghazghkull, and that's the end of the game. All right, let's see what their final thoughts are.
Last thing of consequence here, the Desolation Marines are now shooting into the Death Copters in order to get hold an objective in the middle of the board for a couple of points here on the primary for Paul.
92 points to the Orcs, 60 to the Marines.
Which is not too bad, but still it's going to be, what, he's got 2 Death Copters there, unhurt, so needs to do 6 wounds through a 4-up armor save.
Quite a big ask, isn't it?
It is a big ask.
Single wound, but yeah, single damage weapons.
Don't leave any points on the table.
At this point, you go for the points, right?
Absolutely.
No.
So it looks like 1.
There's absolutely 0 point. Absolutely 0 point in rolling these dice. These dice will not affect the outcome of the game in any way, shape, or form. There is 0 point in rolling these dice.
They are usually used to clear things like enemy infantry who are holding midfield objectives.
Desolation Marines still kind of dog shit.
But at a pinch, they can do damage into things like mounted units and bikes and stuff like that.
So just to reiterate the changes to indirect fire, if no model in your army can see the unit you're shooting with indirect fire, you will hit on 6s. If you can draw a line of sight from any other unit in your army, you'll hit on 4s, and true line of sight is, of course, true line of sight. So Ballistus is going in. We might see Crushing Impact. And Librarian is going in as well.
Ballistus not normally a combat dreadnought. He does not really have any combat weapons, but he can kick. He can kick and stomp.
Rolled a 7 there, does not make it.
I do wonder how difficult it is to stomp on a helicopter, though.
Yeah. Here comes the Crushing Impact.
Yeah, I think this game was. You basically should have taught us. They should have taught us last turn out. But I think GW is going to be
5 5s to take this unit out. I believe.
I think the last thing GW wants to do. I think the last thing GW wants to do is have the premiere game of 11th edition. Have it end with the Marine and the Orcs talking it out. But realistically, this would be a talk-out game. We've got a few people discussing initiative. Initiative is... I'm not going to get into it right now, but those of you who are saying, well, if you just have the highest stat, you go first. That's not how initiative worked. Initiative used to work with terrain, and you've also got to take into account that... when I say you bring the initiative stat into the game, I don't mean you just return it to its former stat. You take a leaf from things like Old World. So we'll have a discussion about initiative another day. But just me saying bring initiative back, there's more to it than what I'm saying. I'm just giving you the summary overview. Okay, discuss it as much as you want. But the way you bring initiative back and make it work, you look at Old World. Old World does it very, very well.
We will, I believe, be having interviews.
We will, yeah. We're going to go to a quick break.
Hey, 69. 69 points with the Marines. All right, maybe you play for the 69 points.
And then get ready for our next game on the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. We will be right back.
All right, they're taking a break. There was nothing extra to see there at the end. Just got some trailers and shit. Don't care about any of that. Okay. There we go. All right. So, yeah, basically, taking my headset off for a second. Basically, that was the first game of 11th edition. Obviously, I gave you guys my final thoughts a few minutes ago, so I won't repeat myself. I do think that there was lots of really excellent information presented in that game. I do think that there's a lot to think about from that result. But I do think there's going to be a lot of players who are very disappointed from that game. And I do think there's going to be a lot of players that are very excited about that game. And I think it's really going to come down to what kind of player you are. Does 11th edition have the opportunity to be a much more immersive game? I personally believe it absolutely does. Did that game and the way GW present it convince anybody of that? No. I think they have. I think that game has. I think that game is going to have. I think that game is going to have some issues, and I think the fact that you've seen people who are already saying that this game isn't going to bring them back and all this kind of stuff, and I think that's a shame because I do think 11th edition could have the potential to be very immersive, but I just think GW chose a very, very wrong way of presenting it. Yeah, and from the beginning, we just wanted to see how the game played, and I think just to basically summarize, to give the final example of that, at no point did we get anything. At no point did we hear from the players themselves. Think about that. That entire game, we did not hear once from the people actually playing the game. That's the issue. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.